On the law firm of Brown, Painderis and Scott for professional legal counsel, from family law and business to property disputes and personal injury claims. At Brown, Painderis and Scott, our team of lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience and are your neighbors. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a law firm. Visit us at bpslawyers.com. Nick Painderis is responsible for the content of this ad.
For nearly 100 years and 4 generations, W.I. Clark has provided superior equipment, quality parts, and timely service to the construction and landscape industry across Connecticut. And while we represent great brands like John Deere, Wirtgen, and Leeboy, it's our employees who get the job done for you and who have always been the key ingredient at W.I. Clark since 1925. W.I. Clark, with locations in Wallingford, Plainfield, and Danbury. Call us or find us online at wiclark.com.
The American people are going to look at the substance of this. They're going to look at what she stood for in the past. They're going to look at what she said during the primary election. And it's very clear. She is a radical liberal. She's somebody that has said we ought to spend $32 trillion on Medicare for all. If you look at her record as well in California, she did, in fact, essentially ban gun sales with executive action. And she threatened during the primaries to do the same thing if she's elected. If she were elected here. So I do think the American people are going to take a look at this record and realize she is very much a radical liberal.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
But you still endorsed her. What in goodness gracious is wrong with you, lady? It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. How y'all doing today? It is September 5th, 2024. Your telephone calls are greatly appreciated by calling 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today. What you heard was none other than Liz Cheney, who has endorsed Kamala Harris. And I always find this stuff interesting to me. Not amazing, just interesting. The rampant lack of integrity of our former or even elected officials today is, I don't know, it's sad, but no one should have to call out Liz Cheney on something that she said just 4 years ago. Seriously, no one should have to do that to her. She comes from a Washington legacy, a legacy that many of us thought had integrity. Many of us carried water for her father, Dick Cheney, as he was maligned, as he was insulted as Vice President of the United States, called everything from evil incarnate. And it turns out the devil won. Here's Liz Cheney. Listen.
You know, the American people are going to look at the substance of this. They're going to look at what she stood for in the past. They're going to look at what she said during the primary election.
You're not. The American people are going to look at what she said in the past. I guess that didn't include you.
And it's very clear. She is a radical liberal. She's
that you now endorse.
Somebody that has said we ought to spend $32 trillion on Medicare for all.
You're probably endorsing that now too, huh? Liz Cheney, you're a Democrat. Welcome to the party. I mean, why not? Just become one of them. You'll get invited to all the parties. They'll write glowing articles about you over at msnbc.com.
If you look at her record as well in California, she did, in fact, essentially ban gun sales.
Which you now endorse.
With executive action.
With executive action. Yes, the American people deserve that, according to you.
And she threatened during the primaries to do the same thing if she's elected. if she were elected here. So I do think the American people are going to take a look at this record and realize she is very much a radical liberal.
That Liz Cheney now endorses. How pathetic. You want to be in with the in crowd so badly. You will do anything. Please, just write an article about me that just says something nice about me. Please, again and again and again. Yes, I know I was a part of the January 6th committee, and I did everything I could to besmirch the President of the United States at the time, Donald J. Trump. But please, I need another article written about me in glowing terms so I can show my grandchildren that our name is not synonymous with war criminals, that they painted your granddaddy back in the 90s. Oh, sorry, the 2000s. I apologize. In the 2000s, please, anything. I need another article that I can put up on my mantle to show my kids when my kids getting bullied in school. I need to show them that we're one of you. It's pathetic. I've watched so many people crumble. So many. When people say that the party of Ronald Reagan is dead, the people who used to be the standard bearers for the Reagan Republican Army, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, Liz Cheney, they're all gone. They've all tucked their tails. They've joined the enemy. They're a bunch of Benedict Arnolds. Now they are useful idiots for a party that will say, see, even Liz Cheney supports her. See, there are good Republicans out there. It's actually kind of sad. Did I forget to mention Mitt Romney? Yes, Mitt Romney too. Ugh, pathetic. These people they're awful. They're just awful. And I couldn't believe the amount of coverage this got. As if to suggest Liz Cheney has any weight in the party. She has none. Neither does Dick Cheney. Those days are over. We've removed ourselves from the bushes. Jeb can't catch a cab. It's over. There's a new Republican Party. It just is. And all of that trying to rekindle the Reagan years and rekindle the George W. Bush years, it's all over. And maybe the truth is, maybe it needs to be dead. Maybe the old guard should die. And I mean that figuratively. Whatever it was the Republican Party was in the early 2000s should be over. And I think that if you are a Donald Trump supporter, I think you need to embrace something new about our party. Hear me out. There are some things that have changed. Clearly. We are now the party of the working class. We are the party of the average American, the nobodies, if you will. We're not the party of the elites. We're not the party of the wealthy. We're not the party of rich whitey. Remember all of those stories back in the day? You know, the Bush years, the Reagan years. When all we could be associated was rich, wealthy whites. Those days are over. The working man has finally got a hold of this party. And it took a billionaire to do it. An average billionaire from Queens, which I got to say, I'm so proud to be from Queens. But Liz Cheney just showed us, and you know, I hear a lot of people here talking about the uniparty. Just recognize those people in the Unity Party for who they are. No matter who they are, recognize them for who they are. They just want good press. They want nice things written about them. They no longer want to be ostracized. They no longer want to be called radicals. They don't want to be called racist and bigots. They need to prove themselves. They need to prove to others who hate them that they're not the things that they say about them. They all just want to get along. They've got no fight in them. They're not fighters. They're weak. They're cowards. They're bums. They just are. And you know who you are in this state if you go along and get along, because you just can't deal with being ostracized in the news media. If you want to ruffle, and I'm using that term figuratively, if you want to ruffle with media tramps like Chris Murphy, if those are the guys that you wish to hang out with, good luck to you. No one's going to have any faith in you. You'll eventually run your course in your leadership or even in elected office. You'll be turned over like another page in our history. A lot of people are getting a lot of weight out of this Liz Cheney thing, but it's not worth it. It's empty. Everything about Liz Cheney is empty calories. She's barely a snack in the media realm. It must have been a slow news day. That's why she did it on a day like Thursday. But I'm embarrassed for anybody. And if you're a liberal and you're in some way sharing this with your friends, as they're like, hey, look, another one. It's Liz Cheney. It's like having Mitt Romney on your side. It's milquetoast. There's a sea change happening, folks. I don't know if you're witnessing it. Some of you don't go online as much as the rest of us do. A lot of you don't go out there and talk to the people like a lot of us do. A lot of you live in your own little bubble, and I get it. That's safe. But the day of the Geechee is done. The American people have had enough. Some people won't tell you. People are very quiet about what they believe today because they just don't want the hassle, but they've had enough. Groups like Black Lives Matter don't have a voice anymore. Even when a person is killed by a police officer today, do you notice there's no real rabble-rousing going on? It's lost its teeth. People have had enough. The most exciting thing, and to give you a perfect example, look how easy it was for the African-American community to dump the Palestinian cause. Look how easy it was. It was fickle. It's over now. The African-American community has abandoned that. Like that. Gone. Everyone sees everything for what it is. Everyone's eyes are open today. And while other people are still running the same old game, Russian collusion, stop it. Everything's racist, not happening. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. They don't even use that anymore. You notice that's not a mantra anymore? None of it's working, and they know it. That's why Merrick Garland threw that whole Russian collusion nonsense at us yesterday. They're desperate. They've lost the American people. They lost a large swath of the American people, and they know it. and they're desperate. They see their power slipping from their fingers. What else can they do? If you think I'm kidding, why have they embraced conservative ideas all of a sudden? Everything about them. Where's all the LGBTQ talk that we heard for the last 3 years? Nothing. What happened to all the LGBTQ transgenders in sports? Nothing. Everything that used to be important to Democrats or to Libercrats or to liberals or leftists has been abandoned. Now all of a sudden they want to close the border. Now all of a sudden they want to back the police. Now all of a sudden they're for capitalism. Home ownership. With a dab of government intervention, but nonetheless, they haven't abandoned themselves completely, but all of their little pet projects. They're only sticking to one thing. They want government spending and they want abortion. That's it. They can't abandon abortion. But even that's not even the top of mind. So what happened? They've recognized that the American people have had enough. The radicalism is on their side. It's in their party. And the guy who is ushering in an entirely new group of people who are going to vote for a Republican has been Donald J. Trump. And that drives them mad. It drives them insane. And worst off is they can do nothing about it. They're threatening their party to get them to do what they want to do isn't working for them anymore. What do you think all the Palestinian protest nonsense is about? Do what we want or we're not going to vote for you. And they can't do that because they're up against it. Why? They have to appeal to too many masters. That's what's wrong with the party. They've stretched themselves so thin, it's turned into a circular firing squad. I cannot feel sorry for them. 2 years ago when I joined this network, I warned everyone that this was going to happen. I warned that the Democrat Party was going to do this to itself, that they were going to throw the kitchen sink at Americans, and Americans were going to get fed up with it, and they are. Truth be told, when you lose guys like Tim and Hamden, for me, that says a lot. When you lose my wife, 3 years ago when we met, die-hard liberal. Can I tell you another secret? Yesterday, she recorded the Hannity-Donald Trump town hall meeting yesterday. She recorded it. She recorded it because she wanted to watch it. She hated Donald Trump 3 years ago, folks. I'm not exaggerating. Hated him. You have to recognize, whether you like it or not, and you can scream and you can holler and you can pull your hair out and you could throw yourselves on the ground. These desperate acts to be a part of a group to be a part of a group of people that are fading. That's how desperate it's gotten. People are so desperate to get attention. People like Liz Cheney are coming forward to support Kamala Harris because they think in some way that's going to get them notoriety, but they don't understand that the group that they are celebrating their affiliation with is fading. No one trusts these people anymore. MSNBC, muerto. CNN, forget about it. Those people are hemorrhaging viewers. They're getting beat out by house hunters. That show doesn't even have a host. Everything that's happening is completely turning on its head. And that's why everybody is so nervous. Not just them, but people on our side. Because what happens when people get desperate? They do desperate things. So when I tell you, just be careful Yes, be careful. Be mindful. On the other hand, spread the word. There is no reason to be afraid. In 2016 and 2020, they tried to shut everybody up, myself included. Those days are over. The American people have had enough. This time there'll be a revolution without one shot fired, and it will happen on Election Day, as it should. Americans can finally get together and just get their lives in order. That's all anybody wants. It's not so much that they want anyone to go away. They just want to come back to a degree of normalcy. They don't want to be called homophobic. They don't want to be called racist. They don't want to be called bigots. They don't want to be called unpatriotic. They don't want to be called deplorable. They just want to be called Americans, and they want to go to work, and they want to make money, and they want to raise their families, and they want to give their kids more than they've had. And those things have become controversial over the past 3 years, but no more. The day of the Geechee is gone. This joke, this nonsense that people have been put up with is over with. And no one gives a damn if Liz Cheney is voting for Kamala Harris. Because everybody who's anybody can see right through the nonsense. And we're not falling for the nonsense anymore. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Your phone calls and much, much more when we return. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. Most goals we set for ourselves have a pretty clear. I want a trip to Nashville.
Thank
so
you.
read a couple of reviews, talk to a few friends, save up some money, and book it. Maybe a couple of choices along the way, but overall, it's a clear course to reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to lose 40 or 50 pounds, where's the clear path? You read reviews, talk with a few friends, and try something out. When it doesn't work, you're disappointed. We've all been there, and it sucks. You know what I say? Stop trying. Do what I did and start doing. Reach your goal with Awaken 180. It's a clear course to success without the disappointment. No guesswork, no trial and error, and no medication side effects. I'm proof. I dropped 80 pounds my first go at it, and it was simple. A word never associated with weight loss, except when referring to Awaken 180. Choose the simple, clear course to success with the solution for weight loss. Set your course today by calling 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Tune in to How to Retire with Fuchs Financial.
The main thing for the majority of the listeners out there who are approaching retirement is I don't want to be surprised.
Helping you build, preserve, and manage your wealth.
So you've got Roth IRAs, you have individual accounts, and finding the right taxable strategy, that's going to be huge for you.
Tune in to How to Retire with Ben Fuchs, Sundays at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. right here on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. The all clear was given at Bloomfield High School after police say they investigated a report of someone with a gun. Officers say the student suspect boasted of having a firearm, but in fact had no weapon, and none was found during a search, and a brief lockdown has since been lifted. Bloomfield police say juvenile charges may be forthcoming. Meantime, in Georgia, police interviewed a 13-year-old boy more than a year ago Well, looking into online posts threatening a school shooting. This coming in light of that shooting in Widener yesterday, where 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers were killed and 9 others were wounded. The Big 12 is pumping the brakes on the courtship of UConn for now. The commissioner there's interested in adding a basketball juggernaut. The plan called for adding UConn in most sports as soon as possible, while giving the football program about 6 years to improve. The search continues for 2 missing boaters from that crash on Sunday in Old Saybrook. 1 person was killed, 6 others injured when the vessel struck a breakwall at the mouth of the Connecticut River. Hunter Biden's lawyer says his client plans on changing his not guilty plea in the federal tax case in L.A. This as jury selection was about to begin today. And fair season in Connecticut continues to heat up. There are 4 more this weekend: the Bethlehem, Hebron Harvest, North Haven, and Wapping fairs, all getting underway on Friday. More information on the state's fair schedule going forward can be found at ctagfairs.org. WTIC News Time coming up on 3:32. Let's check the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
For this afternoon, well, it'll be mostly sunny and pleasant with the high temperature of 81 degrees. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, comfortably mild, the low down to 56. A pleasant day for our Friday with a mix of clouds and sun to round out the week, the high of 79. Then we'll have a bit of rain Saturday afternoon with a mostly cloudy day, the high of 76. Sunday, mostly sunny and breezy, pleasant, a high of 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Wall Street, the Dow Jones down 211 points, the Nasdaq's up 47. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
What's the difference between Allaire Elder Law and most elder planning services? Allaire Elder Law is a law firm, which means we can advise you on asset protection and next step planning to avoid probate and protect the other spouse for their future needs. For example, after working to protect assets from the Medicaid spouse, the healthy spouse needs a special will to keep protecting things in future. With other services, if you're just getting the Medicaid application and not necessary legal documents or strategies, you're getting much less, and often for the same price. Medicaid processing companies can be slow. They may sound like a good deal, but a lot of times they put the work on the family's shoulders, which could mean it takes more time, which costs money when paying for care. Our job is education as much as execution. Finally, please ask the question, are you being referred to a Medicaid planning service for the right reasons, or might they be steering you? I'm Haley Allaire. For comprehensive senior planning for your family, the right choice is Allaire Elder Law. Compassionate counsel and proven results. AllaireElderLaw.com.
Men, though it really does go without saying, practicing better medicine almost always means better outcomes for patients. And if you suffer with erectile dysfunction, you certainly want a good outcome. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And because we do practice better medicine, we're the leader in treating men's sexual health issues in the Northeast. ED is a terrible condition. It causes stresses in relationships. It creates anxiety and undue hardships on a man and often on their partner as well. Yet many men suffer for years without seeking treatment. But I want to tell you today that you can be free of ED. Seriously, if you're like most men, the treatments we offer at Northeast Men's Health will work for you. In fact, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means you can likely enjoy great sex again without the stress that ED can create. You might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you.
1 minute. World of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black,
We're going to go with
and
Joe
tons of
last,
blockbuster
okay?
movies. There are no contracts.
We're going to go to Everett and then Tim.
No hassles. For just
Done good. All right, 10 seconds.
a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
All right, now we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Telephone calls on the way. It's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Again, so you may have heard Liz Cheney was supporting Kamala Harris now. And, of course,
the American people are going to look at the substance of this. They're going to look at what she stood for in the past. They're going to look at what she said during the primary election. And it's very clear. She is a radical liberal. She's somebody.
Which, again, just lends itself to agree or to decide or to discern, that's the word I'm looking for, discern that Liz Cheney is now a radical liberal. I don't know if she's endorsing her. Unless she believes that nonsense about my values have changed, but my policy, I don't know, whatever. My values haven't changed. That's right, but my policies have. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Everett in East Hartford. How we doing, Everett?
Good. Thank you for taking.
My pleasure.
Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure, sir.
This thing with Liz Cheney. I mean, her father was infamous, right? That's more than famous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is that how it works, infamous.
Infamous almost has a negative connotation to it, right? It has, like when you say infamous, it's like it's a pejorative.
No, I forgot what the movie was, but somebody said, "Oh, we're not going to be famous. We're going to be infamous."
Yeah.
That means we're even better.
So what do you make of Liz Cheney? I think this is for her to get involved. This isn't a real endorsement. This is a news cycle endorsement. I get articles written about me. Salon.com will write something glowing. Yeah.
And again, she's shown her true colors.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no big surprise that she would back Harris over Trump.
Clearly.
I mean, she's been trying to ramrod Trump since the day he friggin' announced he wanted to be president.
This is interesting because one of the last times I was on CNN, right? Someone, what his name was, Rick Sanchez was the host. He brought me in primarily for something that happened very similar to this back in 2008. And it was the day that Colin Powell had announced that he was endorsing Barack Obama. Now, here's a guy who had been risen through the ranks through Republican presidents, right? I mean, Ronald Reagan pretty much promoted Colin Powell into Washington, right? And he had worked all the way through the Herbert Walker Bush administration. So this guy was embedded in Republican politics. It was none other than after his tenure with George W. Bush that he then sides with Barack Obama and says endorse him. But why? Because many people were saying that he was a sellout. They had called him an Uncle Tom. They said he wasn't following the true nature of his race. So Barack Obama becomes the candidate, and naturally Colin Powell follows suit, which for a military guy, for me, said that nothing was more weak-kneed than ever. I was like, have some integrity. You don't even know Barack Obama.
Well, let me shine a different light on there. What if he was believes in keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, and he was in there gathering intelligence and getting the inside scoop, and that was the plan?
Hell no. Colin Powell was doing nothing. Listen to me. Colin Powell's, for what people suggested to him, of course, he was always trying to separate himself from the weapons of mass destruction debacle. That was his. Because he was the one, he's on camera talking about weapons of mass destruction. He had always been maligned about that because no weapons of mass destruction were found. I differ on that to a small degree, but no weapons of mass destruction were found. He needed to save his credibility, and in order to do that, you go with the news cycle. And everyone was supporting Barack Obama then. He knew it would get him great press, and guess what? Immediately after he supported Barack Obama, there wasn't a mean thing written about Colin Powell ever again.
Yeah, you could make a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, before I go, me and my friends were talking, and you remember the old saying, if you teach a man to fish, you can give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he can feed himself.
Yeah.
If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you can tax him for the rest of his life.
That's if government teaches him how to fish. Nice one, Everett. I like that one. Let's go to our good friend Tim in Hampton. How we doing, Tim? Tim, the most violent city for hip hop artists right now in Connecticut. How are we doing, Tim?
Very good. They're actually having a candlelight vigil for
Fat Man Scoop.
Fat Man on Friday at the Cinder Park where he died.
Oh, okay. Wow,
So
that's good.
Yeah, they're doing that and stuff. We care about how we kill people in this town, unlike Georgia.
Wow.
Okay.
That's horrible. Anyway.
Well, let me just say this. I'm going to break every rule of talk radio. You never want to talk about guns. And you only want to spin them a certain way. In Georgia, there are no rules. Essentially, I was trying to find out what kind of gun was being used.
We're talking about we're talking about the shooting,
the murder in Georgia
right.
at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I kept figuring it's probably an AR-15. It's probably an AR-15. That's the ones and stuff. Couldn't find it for the longest time, and so there are no rules as far as who can own. I was like, did he own it? Did the mother own it?
We've not determined that yet.
Yeah, so apparently you don't need a permission. It's you can walk around. There's no permits, to walk around with guns on your hip and everything like that. It's essentially the wild, wild west.
But wait a minute, Tim, hold on. Now we're putting a little bit, listen, you're putting a little bit of like you're putting some ingredients into a dish that's already been served. Hear me out. What I'm saying to you is this. What people can do in Georgia played no role in the actions of this 14-year-old. What do I mean by that? We have not.
What do you mean? Because he had a gun.
No. That's all you can. Wait. Again, that's the dish already served. He had a gun and he used it. Now you're importing. You're inserting ingredients that we don't even know are a part of this whole thing. And what I mean by that is you're saying that it's a wild, wild west when it comes to guns. What we do know is that in 2023. That a sheriff's deputy did visit the boy because of alleged threats that were made on the school, allegedly by this young man. They went there, spoke to him. The boy, they spoke to his father, and they spoke to the boy. According to that report that has been since released, the father says that the boy has no access to those guns, and the boy said he never, ever once threatened the school. That was the end of that. Now we cannot determine.
And the mother had all sorts of criminal problems and everything.
Okay.
And drugs and everything.
Okay. Well, no. Are we going to say? Wait. Are we going to say that the boy shot? Hold on, Tim. Are we going to say if you inject that, I have to address it? Are we saying now that by injecting that means that the mother played a role in the shooting because she had drug problems?
If she did, she should be. If she did, which I don't know anything about that, she should be like, I think it was Michigan that where the parents were held criminally responsible and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is 1 in 5 people in this country has a mental illness. Okay. 1 in 5. There are 21 million people in this country who have AR-15.
Okay.
Weapons. The man who murdered the 2 cops in Bristol had a gun that if you heard the actual tape, the bullets and everything were flying so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's people, unless you're a gun expert or probably a male, most people don't have any idea what a automatic weapon like a machine gun really is, and a semi-automatic weapon. So these kinds of weapons are, there's really no rules. It is the Wild Wild West.
But I'm trying to understand by calling it the Wild Wild West, hear me out. What I'm saying is what the boy did is not a product of what you're calling the Wild Wild West. The boy wasn't walking around.
He probably got the gun illegally.
Probably? Okay. But guess what?
Or maybe he did. I have no idea.
We do. Well, okay. So again, you're inserting stuff that we don't know. As if, saying that it's a probability is not addressing the issue. We have to know what those things are to address them.
So let's not get it. How many more slaughters like Nevada?
I'm so glad you asked that. I'm so glad you asked that. Because
so that
today,
we can say, look, you've got you've been mentally, you've been behind, some psychiatric services. We're going to pass on letting you. Get a gun so that, someone should be universal backgrounds, fair universal background checks.
Are you and I in agreement that a 14-year-old should not have access to a gun?
Yes.
Okay, so we do not know why or how the 14-year-old acquired the gun. We do not, right?
Let alone this.
But Tim,
too.
please, it's a simple simple question. Do we or do we not know?
We do not know, but
okay, well then no, that's the important. But Tim, you're missing the most important part of that answer. The most important part of that answer is because we don't know, we don't immediately start injecting rules or prohibition on things we have no answers to. See, what you're saying is, let's make sure we stop everything before we have the facts. We don't have the facts. If we're talking right, if you're just saying he used the gun, so now we have to apply rules to every individual who may have a mental. Wait, Tim. Let me finish the point. Let me finish the statement first, because you have to hear it out.
Hang up on me. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to hang up on you. What I'm saying to you is that if you are taking this situation in Georgia and then saying that we need to apply sweeping rules on guns, on gun confiscation, or who can have a gun based upon information we don't have the details to, that is putting the cart before the horse. So what I'm saying,
what a loaded.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying that you have to have the average person now.
Sensible. What's a sensible gun law? Give me one. Give me one sensible gun law that would have prevented this. Give me one sensible one.
Would have prevented, first off, background checks on the person.
We don't know how he got the gun.
Those in Georgia.
Hold on.
Should have a permit.
Hold on. In Chicago,
you're a responsible person.
Wait a minute. In Chicago, we have got tens of thousands of people
with comparing the drug thing to somebody.
No, not drugs. Not drugs. First of all, we're talking about average citizens who do not deal drugs, who have illegal firearms in Chicago. Trust me, I know. Okay, I've got police in.
They don't have AR-15s for the most part.
Actually, not true at all. Not true at all. And trust me, I have someone who worked in the police force for almost 30 years in Chicago. He now currently works in the police department at a college now. But he is a 30-year veteran of the force, and we talk all the time about Chicago and policing and everything. And he will tell you, it's not just because, trust me, people in the neighborhood know how dangerous it is with gun violence, that average citizens do have illegal weapons because they know how difficult it is to get a weapon to protect themselves legally in the city. So they do have them because what? If they're not arresting the guys who illegally have them, why should they be unarmed and be left as sitting ducks? So trust me when I tell you, in New York, it's the same case. I grew up with plenty of people. My own stepfather kept several guns in the house and he had no permits for them. I know he didn't. I knew he had illegal firearms in my house when I was growing up every day. I'll never forget the first time I ever saw his 22. So trust me when I tell you, it's not just people who are drug dealers or who are gang members who have illegal firearms in some of these cities. A lot of people do because they have such a hard time getting those weapons.
But I am talking about guns that can spray people and kill people so rapidly and quickly. They are not technically.
Every gun can be used. Listen, every gun can be used. I'll put it this way. I'll go one step further. Every weapon in the hands of someone determined to kill or to harm or to maim can be viciously used if that person is determined. It's not just the gun.
It's the classic, NRA, talking points. We don't want to have background checks. We don't want to have permits.
But we have them, and it's not preventing people from getting guns illegally. The background checks aren't preventing people from getting guns.
I could go down to Georgia and pick up a whole,
But the background checks are not, okay, you're saying we need to have background checks. Apparently look, a 14-year-old kid got his hands on a gun without a background check. How did it happen? Because he just grabbed a gun. We don't know where he got the gun from. It's more than likely he got it from his father. It's more than likely. The 6-year-old in Virginia Beach.
If he got it from his father,
what about
the father should be
the
6-year-old?
The 6-year-old in Virginia Beach who shot his teacher. Remember that? Remember that story? Happened on January 6th a couple of years ago. 6-year-old took his mother's gun, and he went so far to talk about this 14-year-old killing 4 people at his school, 2 adults and 2 children. Think about the 6-year-old. The 6-year-old, and this is the crazy part about that story. The 6-year-old got the gun from his mother, brought it into school, showed it to another child in the school, said, if you tell anybody, I'll shoot you. An administrator found out from the kid he threatened and told the administrator that he has a gun. When they got to the kid's backpack, he didn't have the gun in his backpack. Why? Because the 6-year-old hid the gun and then got a handle on it after the coast was clear, brought it into the classroom, and shot the teacher in the hand and through the chest. And then when they got her to the hospital and then, wrestled the gun from the kid, went into the room afterwards when the police came in, the kid screamed, and I quote, "Yeah, I shot that B word dead." 6-year-old said that. Okay, so
yeah, absolutely.
So do you think the background check prevented that kid?
I'm just advocating.
Would a background check have prevented that kid from shooting?
I'm just advocating for Ronald Reagan's point of view.
No,
when he, after he
no,
was
you're not.
shot and his secretary.
No, you're not.
Some of these, assault weapons have to be taken off the street. Still have your handgun. Still have your shotgun for home defense. But something that sprays people like that killed the 2 officers in Bristol with hundreds of bullets fired at them, hundreds fired at, is too much for this country. And I don't think that that's irresponsible or crazy to say.
I don't think it's irresponsible for. I don't express. Listen to me.
Rules.
I don't believe that anything is irresponsible when it comes to gun legislation, if you will. I don't think anything is so much as being irresponsible here. What I'm saying to you is that you keep using this general term of background checks, but that's not what you're talking about. It's just a general term that, gun grabbers use, and I'm not calling you one, Tim. I'm just saying that it's never as simple as a background check, because trust me, you can have all the background checks in the world. If somebody wants to get to illegally get a weapon, they're going to get the weapon, right? We know that. And there's no amount of legislation that will stop a criminal mind from getting a weapon to be used in a criminal way. And what I mean by that is this: legislation only works on the law abiding, right? If that was the case, murder
or the marketplace.
No.
The marketplace.
What about the marketplace?
The marketplace, when you have 21 million people in this country, have an AR-15 and everything, something that is so deadly, so quickly firing. It is not a military weapon.
With 450 million guns in the state, Tim, why aren't more people being killed at the rate that you're so concerned about?
I'm very glad that. But if you look at every one,
but that would suggest something else, wouldn't it?
If you look at every one of the mass shooting events and stuff, most of them are being done by not a handgun, not some 22 or something like that, but an AR-15, so that they can spray a cloud. Let me just end real quickly by saying I want respect. I will bet you a soda pop, a beer, whatever you.
Okay.
On this next Tuesday.
Okay.
Guns will not even be discussed in the presidential debate. Okay, that unless Harris,
okay, you know what? You got to bet. You got to bet. You got a soda bet.
We don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
We don't want to talk about mass shooting.
So guess what? Here, Tim, you and I on Wednesday, we'll discuss it. If it's not discussed, I owe you a soda. Okay?
You got it.
All right, you got it.
That's good. Have a good one.
Thank you, man. You too.
Later. Bye-bye.
Tim Risley, it was all right today. I know a lot of people are just going, nuts. Let me read what the comment says. Who's doing background fork checks? My wife says in the chat room. And literally anything can become a deadly weapon. Forks full of garbage kill more people every day than guns do. My wife is she's very strong Second Amendment. Kevin L. says, can we blame Hollywood for glamorizing gun violence? And if we did, does that mean that we can hold them accountable for reckless driving? It's a good point. I mean, I believe there's an argument to be made for all of these things. And my wife says, yes, she's pro-Second Amendment. I'll go to Tom in Thomaston before we go to a break, because I know everybody wants to jump in on that one. Tom, how are you, sir? You want me to Reese on the radio?
Oh, man, he drives me crazy. First off, if he thinks 1 in 5 people have a mental illness, he's the one with a mental illness.
I knew that was coming. I was being very patient.
And hey, you're polite. You won't say it. He is a gun grabber. He don't like guns. He wants them out of pocket.
Yes.
And the reason the AR is so popular because there's almost no recoil or kick.
Yeah. And it's lightweight.
Yes. It would be the weapon of choice for a woman because it's so easy to fire. It's not like a shotgun or a 30-30.
But I don't think that many of these people who are gun grabbers, Tom, I think what the issue there is that when you look at the AR-15 to people who are not around guns regularly or would never carry one, it looks like a gun that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rambo would fire. So it looks, you know what I mean? It looks intimidating to them. So when they look at that, they go, "Oh my God, that looks like a weapon of war. That looks like a military gun." That's what the auspice of where they're looking at this from.
The military was the M16, and that was automatic fire. You could switch to automatic. An AR doesn't have automatic fire. And people think, automatic rifle, AR.
Yes.
It's the initials of the guy's name, I think, who invented the gun.
Armalite.
Yeah, okay, the company, yeah.
Yes. I know. It's look, I know it's difficult. I tried really, really hard, but I know it's difficult. To be honest with you, people say it's like, I just got a message that says, gosh, you handled Tim so well. It's because I'm sympathetic to where he's coming from. It's not just about bashing people who want to go for, I'm trying to understand where they're coming from, because if I can get that out of them, Tom, to understand what they're so fearful of, then I can address their issue as opposed to just shooting them down. You know what I mean? Like I said, Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I hear you. Maybe you could change his mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can change his mind if I understand where he's coming from, right? So I figured given the opportunity to, to express himself. But I totally appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. We got to take a break. We got to get into the BPS Traffic Center with my good friend Mark Christopher for our first look at the evening traffic. I'll wait for Justin. So he's waiting on me. I think he's getting the... There it is. Hey, Mark Christopher, the BPS Traffic Center. How you doing? How the roads doing?
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Roads are in pretty good shape right now. If you are traveling on the southbound side of I-91 coming into downtown Hartford, delays 33 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up just after 56 out to 47 Sigourney Street in downtown Hartford. 84 eastbound delays 44 up to 46 Sisson Avenue. 291 384 moving well east of the river. 2 eastbound good shape Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound delays 22 up to the Aragoni Bridge. We have an accident now northbound on the Parkway, right at the end of the Parkway in Meriden. It looks like it's between 68W. It looks up in that area. It looks like the right shoulder is shut down there, so it looks like delays back to Miller Avenue behind that in Meriden. Now, if you're traveling 84 eastbound into Waterbury, you got delays back to the 18. 84 eastbound, a little slow, 10 to 11 in Newtown. South 95, New Haven, tight 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8 WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, it'll be mostly sunny and pleasant with the high temperature of 81 degrees. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, comfortably mild, the low down to 56. A pleasant day for our Friday with a mix of clouds and sun to round out the week, the high of 79. Then we'll have a bit of rain Saturday afternoon with a mostly cloudy day, the high of 76. Sunday, mostly sunny and breezy, pleasant, a high of 72.
What's up, Michael A?
Katerina in the WTIC Weather Center.
I'm elder law attorney Haley Allaire. Our greatest reward is happy clients telling us that they're very thankful for our help.
Hello, this is Mary from Berlin. Our family chose Allaire Elder Law to help us in getting our mom into the right nursing home that worked best for her and our family. Once that was completed, Allaire told me as the power of attorney what I needed to do to save as many assets as I could. Allaire Elder Law is a firm that I could bounce things off of, and I trust in their judgment and guidance.
Find out more at AllaireElderLaw.com. That's ALLAIRE.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock. Hartford temperature 78 degrees. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. There was a disruption at Bloomfield High School this afternoon where a student claimed to be carrying a gun. WTIC's Dave Mager reports.
Police say the school went into lockdown at about 12:40 p.m. after a student claimed to have a gun. Officers met with a student who had no gun, and a precautionary search with a canine turned up no weapons in the building. They say the student was just boasting, and they call the claim a hoax. The scene was cleared and the lockdown lifted by 2:15 p.m. The student could face juvenile charges. Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
One day after the deadly school shooting in Winder, Georgia, that community is trying to cope. Samantha Health graduated from Appalachia High School. She says things have changed forever.
It's just never going to be the same again. Like, our little small town is always going to have this hurt in our heart because of this.
A 14-year-old suspected of killing 4 and wounding 9 others was on law enforcement radar in the past for making threats, but officials say there was not enough evidence to arrest him. Well, hold the phone on UConn joining the Big 12 for the time being. The commissioner, Brett Yormark, says the conference is pausing its conversations about having UConn join the league. Yormark released a statement today saying the conference will instead focus on ushering in the new era of college athletics. The plan had called for adding UConn in most sports as quickly as possible while giving the Huskies football program up to about 6 years to improve. Just as Hunter Biden was about to go on trial in L.A. on tax charges. President Biden's oldest son wants to change his plea.
Prosecutors say Hunter Biden engaged in a 4-year scheme to avoid paying at least $1.4 million in taxes and classified some personal luxury expenses as business deductions.
CBS's Erica Brown, 2 of those counts against Hunter Biden are felonies. Connecticut Chief Justice Richard Robinson was honored on his last day on the bench today. Robinson announced his retirement earlier this year. He was the first black Chief Justice of the Connecticut Supreme Court. During his retirement ceremony, Robinson said the enormity of a judge's decisions can't be overstated.
Our system is not perfect, but we must always strive towards perfection. The preservation of our system of government actually depends on that.
Last week, Governor Lamont tapped Associate Justice Raheem Mullins to succeed Robinson. And the heat wave gripping Southern California has already raised concerns about residents being overcome by the hot weather, and there are concerns about wildfires, too.
It's almost the perfect recipe for a wildfire. Triple-digit temperatures in some places, low humidity, and hillsides loaded with brush, which is why fire crews try to jump on any brush fire before it explodes in size.
We'll hit them hard, we'll hit them fast from the ground and air.
LA Fire Captain Eric Scott says one thing in their favor, they're not dealing with powerful Santa Ana winds.
If it was windy, that becomes much more challenging for a wildfire.
John Baird for CBS News, Los Angeles.
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow down 219 points, NASDAQ up 43, S&P down 16 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, I'm Joe with
1 minute.
USA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Don't forget, we got the 5 o'clock focus coming up in about an hour. And that 5 o'clock focus, folks, is directed at this conversation about the shooting in Georgia and shootings in general. I'm sure the 5 o'clock focus will be a question you have heard before, a question you have opined about before, but probably not with me. That's why I am doing it this part of the 5 o'clock focus today. So make sure if you have something to say about my conversation with Tim, hold on for the 5 o'clock focus, because you might want to opine then, because the question that I'm going to ask has everything to do with the schools today and school safety. So be prepared for that. Also, in this hour coming up, the DOJ Chief of Public Affairs, Nick Biasi. Have you seen the video? If you haven't, please go to my Facebook page. Just go to reasonthenradio.com, and click on the Facebook page so you can go to that page. I'm trying to get something directly on my page. We'll go to like the story of the day, but you want to go to reasonthenradio.com, or if you're already a friend on Facebook, go to my Facebook page so you can see the story yourself and the undercover video. There is a development from that video, but this gentleman, who's the DOJ Chief of Public Affairs of the Southern District of New York, is caught on camera talking about the lawfare against Donald Trump. It is an explosive video, and it is inside, and we're talking about a peek inside the mindset inside the DOJ and inside the Southern District of New York, and as it relates to Alvin Bragg and his prosecution of Donald Trump. So if you haven't heard about it, go to the Reese On The Radio page, or the reasonthenradio.com page. Click on Facebook where it says, join us on social media. Go to Facebook, and you can find the story there and watch the video yourself. We'll talk about that in the next hour. I'll try to play some audio. It's kind of wonky in the sense of, some of it's clear, some of it is not. So I'll have to recite what some of the things are on the video. And we'll also talk about the response coming from Nick Biasi, the DOJ Chief of Public Affairs, since the video has gone viral today. And it was brought to you by Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder as well. So that is a very, very big story that a lot of people are talking about. So stay tuned for that. And, of course, your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Now for another look at our traffic. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. 91 southbound, look for delays approaching 34 down to 32A and B. In Hartford, if you are south of downtown, overall that looks pretty good. Just a little tight traffic down by exit 28 on the Hartford-Wethersfield line. If you are traveling northbound 91, looks like we have a problem on the right shoulder just prior to exit 28 in Hartford, so slowing you down just a little bit there, rubbernecking at that. Now, if you're traveling 84 eastbound, look for slow traffic now. About a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulky Bridge in East Hartford up to 47 Sigourney Street. 291 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound delays Harbor Park up to the Aragodi Bridge in Middletown. 15 northbound, look out for an accident up by exit 60's 8W on the right shoulder, slowing you down there. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing by 18. 84 westbound a little tight, 22 into the Mixmaster. Heading into Newtown, slightly slow, 84 eastbound, 10 to 11. Southbound Parkway, you're going to see some slow traffic in Hamden, getting by exit 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound delays, New Haven, 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, it's been a beautiful afternoon as we continue through the evening and overnight. Partly cloudy skies. Very comfortable, though. The low down to 56 for us. So looking very nice and pleasant as we head through the overnight. We'll have another great day for tomorrow with pleasant temperatures, a mix of clouds and sunshine, the high up to 79. Heading into the weekend, we get a bit of rain during the afternoon on Saturday. It'll be mostly cloudy, the high 76. Sunday, the better of the 2 weekend days, although breezy and cooler, and it's going to feel a little bit cooler than that high of 72 with that busy west-northwest wind of 10 to 20 miles an hour. Might be a good day to hang out inside and watch football. Anyway, Monday, increasing clouds, the high up to 77. Summer's not over yet. Tuesday, mostly sunny, the high back up into the 80s at 81. Currently, Waterbury at 73. A little cooler in New London with that sea breeze, 72 and 79 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Traffic is brought to you by the Heyman Law Firm. If you or a loved one has been the victim of medical malpractice, know that you are not alone. Call 1-800-HAYMOND and they will get you the answers and advice you deserve. Attorney John Haymond is your legal authority in medical malpractice. Call 1-800-HAYMOND.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth from Money Wisdom. Tune in this week and every week to learn more about how to strengthen your portfolio or how to create a 5-star retirement plan. Tune in to Money Wisdom, Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Nachos! Hey, I'll take some. And some Frank's Red Hot. Nah. You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts about the latest medical news and call in with your questions. Healthy Rounds, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
Philo's got 1 minute entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery,
Specs has the
Lifetime,
lowest price.
Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows. And save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC+. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
They think I'm going back to jail. Really on that dope.
And we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let me put my camera back on. And I want to thank everybody, and I'm loving it as I see it. So many people are following me on Facebook. Keep following, keep following, keep following. You can friend me too. Don't be shy. If you're having problems friending me, because sometimes they stop you from getting a lot of friends. If they don't want you to have friends, what's wrong with you, Mark Zuckerberg? Why don't you want me to have friends? Let's get back to the phones, because I got so many people I know after the conversation with Tim. It was a lengthy conversation about guns. I know people have a lot to opine about. The phones will go. There's certain topics they will jump in on. So let's get to them. Let's go to Jim in Wellington first. Jim, you're on the Reese on the Radio. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, I don't know if I wanted to continue on this conversation, but I'll stick to it in one way.
Okay.
You know, if you go back with Columbine, the shooting in Florida there,
yeah,
the tragedy that we had here at Sandy Hook, et cetera, and you get into the facts and the minutia about what the police knew about some of these people,
yeah,
what the administrators knew about some of these people, what the teachers knew about some of these people, you find out that in many cases, the police were on the ball as far as what they knew, the administrators were on the ball as far as what they knew, the teachers and the students were on the ball as far as what they communicated,
right?
And yet you can't get a cohesive way of
addressing the problem as it persists. You know, you bring up a good point. You look at it turns out that this particular young man who had, again, had the incident with police who come to his house, right, because of earlier, I guess, suggestions that he was going to do something to the school. He appears to, according to reports, was obsessed with the Parkland shooter in Florida, the Marjorie Stoneman School, right? According to reports. That young man was also having problems ahead of time, had made threats before. There were kids who openly knew it was an open secret that this kid had mental issues. And the aforementioned 6-year-old who shot his teacher, Abigail Zwerner, in Virginia Beach. Try this on for size, Jim. The year before he shot her, they had to pull him off of a kindergarten teacher. He was in kindergarten trying to choke out the teacher in a sleeper hold. Okay?
Yeah, can I add to that?
Yeah, sure.
When you have that much information about any one student over a period of some amount of time, and you're talking about the police, administrators, teachers, and students, I'm sorry, that student does not go to the school.
Exactly.
Now, it's up to society to figure out what the length of time is going to be.
Mhm.
It's up to society or the community to figure out what type of help he's going to need, and we bite the bullet, and that child does not go to that school or any school.
Right, because
for
he,
that matter.
right, it becomes a public danger. It becomes a danger to the kids in the school.
And if we can keep 35 million kids out of a classroom because of a virus, we sure as heck can keep students that we know are problems.
Yeah, you're
out
right.
of a classroom for some period of time.
Yeah.
Really, and then if you don't mind, I'd like to add just one other thing that's got nothing to do with this.
Go for it, real quick.
Ronald Reagan, amnesty, 3.5 for 4 million people. The idea was to fix the border wall. Never happened. Donald Trump offered amnesty to 1.7 million people, family members and dreamers. Schumer and Pelosi walked out of the White House. Nothing ever happened with it.
Exactly.
So I don't want to hear any more BS about Trump being a problem or being a racist or a bigot when it comes to people coming into this country illegally.
You're 100% right.
And I'll shut up there.
Don't worry, Jim. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Let's go to Richie in Bloomfield. How are we doing, Richie?
How you doing, Reese?
Good, sir.
Well, you were very nice to Tim because that's a severely damaged individual.
Well, I'm just trying to get to the bottom. Listen, his sentiment is not just Tim. There's a lot of people who agree with him, believe it or not. I mean, he's got a lot of people on his side who agree and believe just as he does. So I look at him, although I shouldn't, but I'm looking at him in the perspective of he gets to be a voice for those people who agree with him, and I'm trying to speak to him and the rest of them. That's why I'm kind of being patient with him.
Agreed. So the reason why I'm calling is, in my opinion, Reese, this is an easy fix, guy.
Okay.
All you got to do is put cops in schools and metal detectors. They'll give illegal aliens billions and billions of dollars, put them up in hotels and houses, and you guys can't afford to put cops in schools.
I agree with
metal
you.
detectors?
I agree with you.
As sinister as this sounds, all right, this is what I believe. They want this to happen.
You think so?
This is how. No, they do. I believe that they really want kids to die so they can use it as an excuse to disarm America.
Kind of a Rahm Emanuel, taking advantage. What was the term Rahm Emanuel used?
Yeah, I know. What you're talking about.
Taking advantage. Somebody will give it to me, but I think it's sort of never let a bad situation go to waste. I think it was something along those lines. Yeah.
It sounds really sinister and awful to say, but God, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
To put metal detectors in schools and have cops there with guns. I mean, how simple of a fix is it?
Yeah.
You can fund them. You'll fund the illegals that don't belong here, but you won't put cops in schools. It's because they don't want the cops in schools.
Yeah, make
They
sure,
want kids to die.
Richie, you listen to my closing monologue at 5 o'clock for the 5 o'clock focus.
I absolutely will.
Yeah,
I absolutely will.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, sir. Let's
Thank
go.
you, Reese.
Thank you. Let's go to Andrew. Andrew's in New Britain. How are you, sir?
Yeah, Richie, there's no cops in schools because Chris Murphy, who is up for re-election, by the way, Chris Murphy will fight tooth and nail to prevent SROs, to prevent school cops to be allowed to function and do their jobs. Reese, I really like your point, about using facts and knowledge to make decisions.
Yes.
About handling these situations. I wish logic and reason, had any sway in what we discussed today.
Yes.
But I do, and I want to point out the shortcoming in all of this.
Yes, sir.
When one of these Groundhog Day situations comes up, you've got Chris Murphy praying to Moloch that the shooter, be a white guy
yes.
with a red hat, says "Make America Great Again." Okay. And he's praying that it's an AR-15 because if it's a black guy, if it's a Muslim, if it's another one of those transgender monsters,
right.
that are killing people, it blows the narrative for them. They got nothing to say. And when it does go that way, don't forget the FBI is going to send any of that information down the memory hole.
Yep.
Pulse nightclub.
Yeah.
Orlando shooting. Nashville. Okay. We are never going to hear any facts about who was responsible and motivation because the FBI grabs the records, they suck them up, they hide them in perpetuity. We cannot know what the problem is. We cannot deal with the problems. Okay, if we can't use simple language, allow us to use the words that need to be done, and have the facts of the matter. Give us these 500-page manifestos.
Can you believe it? How long did we have to wait for that? How long did we wait for that manifesto to be released of the transgender shooter in what was it? Tennessee?
Pick one.
Yeah.
Nashville. That happened.
Yeah, Nashville. Right. Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
That's
Yeah.
never coming back. That will never come back. Orlando, shooting that you will never hear about it.
Yeah, they don't even mention it. They don't even hold memorials for them. Interestingly enough, when it's involved, what I'd like to say, one of their own, as it were. Yeah, it's a good point, man. I appreciate. Hey, listen, I appreciate you very much, Andrew. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Matt. Thank you. Let's go to Matt in Bristol. What's up, my good friend?
Hello, Mr. Hopkins.
What's up, sir?
Good. Well, first of all, let me say I'm not going to respond at all about the tragedy that happened because until I get all the facts, I don't even talk about it. Period. End of sentence. But I'm not mad at Tim because he just doesn't understand. I wish I could take him to the range, and I would if he allowed me to.
Right.
Because first of all, everyone has this thing with AR. Like you said, it's just Armalite. There's many different platforms of rifles that they shoot the same caliber and the same amount of bullets. The other thing that people don't understand is a semi-automatic. Most handguns are semi-automatic, and in Connecticut, we have the same. The magazine is the same limit on a rifle platform as it is on a handgun platform. So the same amount of bullets can be shot out of a handgun at the same rate as can out of a rifle, and people don't understand that.
Here, let me throw something at you, Matt, and tell me. And by the way, if anybody else wants to call on this, and you will be able to in the 5 o'clock focus, I promise. But I have a theory, and I've talked about this before, but I don't talk about it enough. But you tell me what your take is on this theory. I believe that there are a lot of anti-gun advocates who have a psychological relationship with guns. What I mean by that is they see guns from the perspective of what they see in television, in movies, and the news. What I mean by that is, and I talk to people about this, and it's unscientific, but I've asked people, when you think of a gun, what do you think of? Like, who owns guns? And people have always said three things, especially in the African-American community, so-called community, I like to call it. But they've said this. This was the one that was the most alarming, Matt. People in those communities said this. Cowboys have guns, police and military have guns, and bad guys have guns. They do not see the regular public as having guns. When they first think of guns, those are the people that they see. Cowboys in the plains, police, military, and bad guys. I'm not kidding you. They do not see average citizens. They think that having a gun as a regular citizen is uncivilized. It is only required for a certain subset of the American people. I'm not kidding you.
I think your point about the movies is very valid because another misnomer that I hear all the time is when people say silencers. And in the movies, they have a silencer and they go and shoot people and it sounds like you're shooting an air gun. And in the real world, it's called a suppressor.
Right.
And all it does is make it less noisy for the shooter.
Right.
Where you don't have, where it doesn't.
He doesn't have to put plugs in his ear.
Out.
Yeah.
But it's still very, very loud.
Right.
You can't sneak around the corner and shoot someone and the guy down the hall doesn't know you just shot him.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work like that. But because of the movies, that's the way people think it actually
Exactly.
works.
And if you've never been around a gun before, if you never fired a gun, if you don't have a natural relationship with guns, your interpretation of guns are exactly as I described. Cowboys, police officers, military, bad guys. That's it.
Movies.
Yeah.
Yes, movie.
Yeah.
Movie guns.
Exactly. The movie guns, exactly. Good
just
point.
Like if you drive through a big pane of glass, the two guys on the other end just stand there going, well, what happened? You
Yeah.
just drove through it and no one gets hurt. Yeah.
I know. I really do believe that's, and again, and I think more, and another part of what we're saying here, and I think you just made that point, was the abundance of gun violence we see. In fact, somebody said it also in the chat room. The abundance of gun violence that we see on television and in the movies is clearly much more than we see in our regular lives. But when you see so much of it in your daily lives on television, that becomes the reality of guns in the country. You know what I mean? Every TV program has some form of gun or gun violence in it. And that becomes our interpretation of what gun life or having a gun is like. So
it's funny because I was actually in Scandinavia for 6 months. And they literally thought the movies they saw was the way we live. Like, we all went around shooting each other all the time, and they literally thought that's how we live because that's the American movies that come out.
Yeah.
And I go, no, it's not really like that. I'm like, I don't carry a gun around with me anywhere. Like,
at the pharmacy.
No, yeah. I go, no, I've never carried a gun in my life outside of my house. No. And they're like, really? Like, what do you do when all the people are shooting at you? Like, no, that doesn't happen.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. You know what? It's true. But that's the reality. People outside, people who don't have a relationship with gun, that's the psychology. I really believe that's true. Thank you, buddy. We got to take a break. We got to get into the PPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark, how them roads doing out there today?
We're doing okay, Reese. Overall, not too bad. Just
clear.
Brought to you by W.I. Clark Company. And if you're heading down the southbound side of 991, you're going to see delays in Hartford 34 down to 32 A and B. Again, 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weathersfield line. Northbound 91 looks good. Crime through downtown up into Windsor. If you're westbound 84, look for delays. East Hartford approaching the Boakey Bridge at 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays. 44 Prospect Oakwood down into the Hartford Tunnel. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's moving very well. Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing 22 to the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 84 eastbound a little slow in Waterbury by 18. Westbound 84, you'll lose some speed by exit 23 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound Newtown slowing 10 to 11. South 95 New Haven tight 46 to 44. Southbound Parkway some slow traffic anyway 60 in Hamden. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For this afternoon, well, it'll be mostly sunny and pleasant with the high temperature of 81 degrees. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, comfortably mild, the low down to 56. A pleasant day for our Friday with a mix of clouds and sun to round out the week, the high of 79. Then we'll have a bit of rain Saturday afternoon with a mostly cloudy day, the high of 76. Sunday, mostly sunny and breezy, pleasant, a high of 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I learned it from my adoptive mom. Hold my hand. You hold my hand.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navient tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
And now, a WTIC news update.
78 degrees, sunny skies in Hartford at 4:30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Police were at the scene at Bloomfield High School this afternoon to investigate a reported gun threat. Student suspect was not armed when encountered by police. The school was placed into lockdown as law enforcement did a search for any hidden weapons. That lockdown has since been lifted. Police say the thing was a hoax and charges may be forthcoming. Georgia police interviewed a 13-year-old boy more than a year ago while looking into online posts threatening a school shooting, but investigators say they didn't have enough evidence for an arrest. Officials say the boy opened fire at his high school outside Atlanta Wednesday, killing 4, 2 teachers and 2 students, and wounding 9 others. Oxford's school superintendent says the first day of school went relatively smoothly. Start date was pushed back following the devastating flood last month. Roads and bridges were damaged, and that had to be taken care of, making getting around for students difficult. East Haven police and DEA agents have been investigating at a location in town. What they're investigating exactly still has not been released. The area is in a building at a Tyler Street extension in town. Hunter Biden's lawyer says his client plans to change his not guilty plea in his federal tax case just as jury selection was about to begin in L.A. The defense attorney told the judge about Hunter Biden's plans to change his plea but did not provide details. President Biden's son facing misdemeanor and felony charges in the case alleging he failed to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes over 4 years. Wall Street, the Dow finished down 219 points today. The Nasdaq down 43, and the Nasdaq was up 43, and the S&P was up 16. MLB tonight, locals have the night off. Red Sox open a series against the White Sox Friday. Tomorrow, we'll have that beginning at 6:10 here on WTIC. It's opening night for the NFL, believe it or not, and it's the Ravens taking on the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
W.I. Clark. Call us or find us online at WIClark.com.
W.I. Clark provides superior equipment, parts, and service to the construction and landscape industry across Connecticut. We represent great brands like John Deere, Wirtgen, and Leeboy, and our employees have been the key ingredient behind our success since 1925. Online at WIClark.com.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. Mike, who lost 40 pounds with Awaken 180, was in the same position I was in. You're most likely in. Confused.
I spent so much money on personal trainers in the last 10 years. Didn't have a lot of discretionary income left. So I tried to listen to everybody else. What do you eat? You know, everyone said, eat healthy. Define eating healthy. Cut out sugar. Tell me what foods don't have sugar. So their process to me was an education. That was really the eye-opening thing to me is I had 10 choices of food in front of me every day. You know, when I was on the run in sales, I was making 8 bad choices. I wasn't eating the 2 good ones. And I loved the 2 good ones. I just didn't know they were good. So I made bad choices every single day. In the program, an Awaken 180, really changed my mind, opened my eyes up to, it was a true education on food, what to eat, what not to eat. And it's been fantastic.
Knowing what to eat. The ability to navigate nutrition labels, a proven, clear path for weight loss, and exactly what you will receive with Awaken 180. Leave confusion at the door and do what we did. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast
Okay.
approaching. Apple picking,
And
fall leaves,
was it
and
Mike
chilly
and
nights
Rob
are on
left?
the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and
Yeah, Mike.
special this fall. Your family
You got cut
home
off.
movies. Legacy Box is
Sorry, Mike. Yeah, both Mike and Ron.
solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, baby's first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We will get to all of your calls in a bit. Before we get, of course, we have to get into the BPS Traffic Center, so stand by. As I talk about all the time here on the show, I'm an avid listener to radio. If I lived at the time where there was only radio and no television, I would have never left my house as a kid. I would have been obsessed with radio. It would have been like television would have come around. I was like, it'll never last. I'd have been that guy. But I love radio. So I was listening to a radio show, and it was just a regular morning show. And the host was talking, he had actually a pretty good show. And he had an article that he was addressing. I could not stay to listen to the actual conversation or the article, so I tried to look it up. But apparently there is a report out that says that the economy has gotten so bad. I kid you not. The economy has gotten so bad that cheaters are complaining about it. Somebody did the research. Apparently, the average cheater was spending about $10,000 a year to have an affair. That was back in 2019. This year, it has gone up so much. In order to have an affair, some men have decided not to cheat on their wives because of it. So if we can find anything good about the Biden-Harris economy, finally, men have decided to choose fidelity. It's gotten too expensive to cheat. I hope my wife didn't hear that part. Not that I'm not bragging about it. I just thought it was an interesting article for someone to write. But whoever the guy is who had that assignment, for me, it's just hilarious that you would report. But I guess when you're trying to find new and inventive ways to talk about how bad the economy is, you come up with something like this. But yes, it is too expensive to cheat. Thanks, Joe Biden. I don't know how to put that any other way. But truly, yeah. I've tried to find the article, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It's probably hidden like on a Reddit or something. It's probably someplace else. It's like, it's got to be in some underground publication. I don't know. But I just thought that was an odd article. Let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Can you believe that? People are finding ways to blame Joe Biden for the economy, and now cheating is on the chopping block. That's insane.
I know.
Somebody wrote an article that says that it has become the Biden economy is so bad that men can't cheat on their wives anymore because it's gotten too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive to sneak around. Plus, there's cameras everywhere. So
exactly.
That makes it hard too.
I think that should be Kamala Harris. They should put that on. They should put that on their website. It's like, because of us, men are being faithful.
Well, either that or she has to do something to change that to make it more affordable. She's not going to get a lot of votes from men who want to step off.
Good
on this.
point. That's right.
You know?
She'll lose more men, right?
So if she gets the economy back in shape and people can afford stuff again, men might vote for her.
That's right.
Just a weird thought.
I did not think of that. That's a good point. Thinking on your feet there, Mark Christopher.
There you go. Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into Hartford right now, westbound side of 84.
You're clear.
Thank you. 47 Sigourney, 84 eastbound, delays 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. If you're traveling southbound 81, delays 33 down to 32 A and B, and again 27 down to 28. Northbound 91, that's moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, 384, okay, east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlborough. 9 northbound slowing 22 in Middletown up to the Aragoni Bridge. Heading toward Waterbury, slight slowdown. 84 westbound. 23 into the Mixmaster, 84 eastbound slowing 17 to 18, 84 eastbound Newtown tight approaching 10 to 11, South 95 New Haven slowing from 46 to 44, 90 southbound on the Parkway, some slow traffic getting by 60 in Hamden. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
After a beautiful day, a quiet evening, and a great night, mostly clear tonight, the low down to 56. Another very pleasant day for Friday to round out the week with a mix of clouds and sun, the high 79. Saturday, a bit of rain in the afternoon as it remains mostly cloudy. Still mild, though, the high 76. Going to be cooler on Sunday. Certainly the better of the 2 weekend days, though. Mostly sunny. It'll be breezy. Now, that high of 72 will certainly feel cooler with a busy west-northwest wind of 10 to 20 miles an hour sustained throughout the day on Sunday. Now, Monday, increasing clouds, the high up to 77. Tuesday, beautiful late summer day, mostly sunny, the high of 81. Right now, New Haven is, New Haven's not checking in right now. Bridgeport at 72, it's 73 in Waterbury, it's 77 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store. Learn more at goodfeet.com. We're located at 25 Climax Road across from Whole Foods. Good Feet Arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Back to the phones we go because I got to get into this story with Louder with Crowder. But I want to get all your phone calls in. Let's go to Mike in Plainville. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Well, everybody has to adjust to inflation and higher prices no matter what you do.
All right.
Everybody's cutting back.
Right.
No, everybody's got to cut back.
Right, exactly. Maybe, you know what? Maybe they could just start, instead of calling themselves sugar daddies, they can call themselves stevia daddies. You know, like a. It
doesn't matter what you are or what people call you. You are what you are, and you know it.
That's right. Indeed.
Now, okay, I'm going to put you under the light a little bit here, okay?
Go for it.
I was out about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and someone that was in broadcasting informed me that Todd Feinberg is not returning.
Well, I don't even know who could have possibly told you that because I don't know anything about that, so I can't answer you.
He knew a lot more than I did. I mean, I'm just a listener, but I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
You're not putting me on the spot. Like I said, I couldn't. If I had something to answer for you, I could answer, but that's not what I understand.
Let me ask you, did you work up in Boston?
Yes, I did.
When? How far back?
2008.
This guy, this person that stated to me that the same thing happened back in 2008. That's happening now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He said. Yeah, so I don't know if you're going to be moving to Connecticut or not.
I don't know what you're talking about, but like I said, I know I'm just here. That's all I can tell you.
I don't believe it, but I just figured I'd throw it out. I mean, in case somebody else heard.
I understand. I totally understand. But I appreciate.
You guys have been totally fair with me. I mean, Todd let me on the air. I don't know why.
And I thought I was just as fair. Was you know?
You are no. what's good is you expand the conversation a little bit more than he did, and I like that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Let me get to. I got to move on now because I'm trying to get to this story. Let me go to Ron in East Windsor real quick. Hey, Ron, you're on with Reese on the radio.
How you doing, Reese?
Pretty good, sir.
Good. Before I get to my main point, I can't stop thinking about the cheating thing and how expensive it is. I mean, what's next? Is next year going to be too expensive to masturbate?
Right.
Like baby wipes are up $17. So honestly, that was just funny. But anyway, here I go again. I have to call out Tim for his hypocrisy. We talked a while back, and after Bristol, our officers were gunned down in Bristol, a horrible thing. And Tim decided to take advantage of it and call out the AR-15. And I called. I think you might remember this. I called and I said, Tim, there was 30 murders in Hartford, New Haven, and Waterbury this past year, and you have not called once. And I'll never forget this, Reese. My jaw dropped. You let him call back again. You never do it. You let him call back to rebuke, and I'll never forget what he said. And you said, why, Tim? Why haven't you called? And his sentence was, because it was cultural. I could not.
I remember it. You remember I admonished him for that.
Yes, I could not believe it. Now, how many murders already in this year in Connecticut with handguns? Handguns kill hundreds of people in this country. The biggest school shooting in U.S. history was done by 2 handguns at Virginia Tech.
That's right.
There's never a discussion about.
But it doesn't.
People.
You remember, it is not the convenience, right? It doesn't have the convenience of pushing gun legislation that Georgia.
Right. Once the bright lights are on the story, everybody jumps in with the
exactly.
If you shut the bright lights off, nobody says nothing.
Yeah, and it's true.
Murders in Hartford all the time in New Haven. Nobody says nothing. Nobody makes any phone calls.
And I don't. It's funny. It's funny you should say that because what I thought was interesting was, tragically after Sandy Hook, and that was during the Obama administration. At the time that Sandy Hook took place, many people, and again, this was, I thought it was classless of the people who did it, but it was an important, the way that they addressed it was classless, but it was an important point that they were making. So unfortunately, they had an unforced error when they did, and that was many people were online they're talking about Sandy Hook, but they never talk about the inner city of Chicago, Detroit, and New York. They never talk about those gun violence. And they were really, really upset that Barack Obama had not addressed the gun violence that was happening in Chicago, his second hometown, but he was very focused on Sandy Hook. And now everyone knew that politically it was beneficial for him to address Sandy Hook, however, not talking about Chicago. What Barack Obama did thereafter, and you can look this up, folks. You don't have to go to me. I always tell people I bring receipts. Barack Obama brought 3 children to Washington to address an audience of the press and other, I guess, people who were there to talk about gun violence that they were experiencing. He brought up one young black man from an inner city school, and he never allowed him to speak and address the crowd. Why? Because it wasn't politically expedient for him to do so. And that kid was talking about inner city shooting, but he did not want to give that kid an opportunity to speak. So for a guy who said Trayvon Martin looks like he could have been my son, he had a young black man talking about inner city shootings, and he never gave him the platform to speak. And I noticed that because it was, for me, that when everyone else was raving or ranting about the fact that the Obama administration was not addressing inner city violence, and then to have this kid from the inner city not even address it to the public on a bully pulpit was striking to me.
It's all about narrative. That's all it is. Thousands of people die in this country by a handgun every time. You get a very small handful of people killed by an AR-15, and it's hands across America. There's 10 other guns more powerful than the AR-15.
Yeah, indeed.
There's so many more rifles out there that are so more powerful. But because it's big and scary, and it looks like something in the movies, that's all they care about. It's not the murders, it's the narrative.
Indeed. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate you, sir. All right, let me take this last one. I'm going to take Wayne and Morris, and then I'm going to get into the Steven Crowder story. How we doing, Wayne?
Doing pretty good there, Ray. Say, remember last week I called you about Johanna Hayes' new TV commercial?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, a 14-year-old in Georgia has now heard her call to arms. He has answered it, and he has attacked an unarmed school,
Mm-hmm.
and he killed 4 people. She announced that schools should not be protected by guns, so he took advantage of that. And this is just the beginning of the school year. It's going to keep happening because the word is out there now. She put it out there, and she's got blood on her hands as far as I'm concerned.
Listen to me. That's why you need to pay attention. This is the reason why you need to pay attention at the 5 o'clock focus. My closing monologue is going to address exactly what you're talking about. In that, and I think you're making a very clear point. What you did, it's funny that you mentioned this yesterday, and then this takes place. All in that sort of in a vacuum, as it were. But you're right.
Exactly.
It's very indicative of where the left is on this, and they don't understand why what we're talking about is more important than what they're talking about.
Well, also, do you ever notice when a white cop shoots a black unarmed man, all you hear about is the fact that he was unarmed, okay? But when do you hear them say somebody attacked an unarmed school? You never hear the word unarmed in relation to any kind of a school murder tragedy.
Yeah.
You never say the school was unarmed, that's why it was attacked, okay?
Exactly.
You never hear that word.
And you never hear gun-free zone. You never hear gun-free zone either.
And because the reason they're attacking the school is because it's unarmed.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly. It's a soft target. It's a soft target.
It that way.
And an interesting factor in this, Wayne, was that what did the kid do when he was confronted by an officer? He lays down the gun and says, "I don't want to die." Right?
Yep.
So which means that had he met someone at that school when he originally approached it, if someone was there with a weapon, he would not have used it, and it would have been neutralized immediately. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate the call. Okay, now, thank you, man. So now that I have a little bit of an opportunity, like I said, we're going to talk about this in the 5 o'clock hour. Trust me, this story is not lost on me. That's why the 5 o'clock focus is going to be very much about that. But the question, I will ask you the question. That's the one I want answered. So, Steven Crowder released a video today. And in that video, it is 13 minutes long. If you want to see it, go to my Facebook page. A lot of people are jumping on there now, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much. There are plenty of people going there now, and if you go to my page, you can see it. You can watch the video yourself. And the video involves a man by the name of Nicholas Biasi. Nicholas Biasi is the DOJ Chief of Public Affairs at the Southern District of New York. And he is openly expressing what's happening inside his own office with a man that he has known for 15 years, worked with him for 10, Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, and the lawfare against Donald Trump. Now, he has since responded. Let me read the response to this video. Mr. Biasi is saying that he was just trying to be impressive to a young lady he was speaking to, the woman who caught him on camera expressing his true feelings. Him saying that what's being used against Donald Trump was to purposely hurt him, and it was orchestrated by Democrats. Here is some of that audio, and if need be, I will recite some of it to you.
Nicholas Biasi is the Chief of Public Affairs for the Department of Justice's Southern District of New York. Something you may be familiar with, and the most prominent federal trial court in America.
Those felonies did nothing to stop Trump from running.
Oh, in fact, they made him more relevant.
Did that backfire?
Sure did. And the thing is disgusting. They're just out to get him.
He says this whole thing is disgusting. They're just out to get him. This is the guy who works Chief of Public Affairs at the U.S. Department of Justice in the Southern District of New York.
That's why I like serving in the office. It's a perversion of justice.
That's the reason why he's surging in the polls. This is a perversion of justice.
stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. No, to be honest with you, I think the case is nonsense. State levels are the Wild West. They're like idiots. They don't care. They're all political. So yeah, this guy's probably going to try to line them up. And it's going to be ugly. They're so obsessed with getting here.
Who is they?
So he says it. They're so obsessed with getting him. The whole thing is nonsense. It's disgusting. It's despicable. He wants nothing to do with it. They're stacking charge amongst charge against him. They're trying to get him. She says, who's they? He goes, the Democrats. They said he's becoming more and more popular in the polls. They're trying to arrest him. They're trying to put him behind bars, and it's going to get ugly. Now, since this has come out, he's now tried to suggest, no, I was just trying to impress the young lady. Impress her with what? Impress her how? Did you think that talking about what's happening inside the Southern District of New York or in a DA's office was going to get you a little leg? That's what my mom used to call it when I was a kid. Sorry. I digress. Is that what he believed? That was going to get him a little play with the ladies? Talking about the court in New York? So he's a little embarrassed now, and people are staying away from it. But watch the video. Again, it's about 13 minutes long, and it's lengthy. And according to Steven Crowder, there is more to come. All right, but if you don't want to go there, you can always go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's ReeseOnTheRadio.com and become a friend on Facebook, or follow on Facebook. I'll be posting them each time that they come out, so you'll never miss stories like this. And I live for following the news. So if there's a story out there that you know, hey, what's going on, Reese? I'm the place to go. Just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Okay? All right, when we come back, the 5 o'clock focus. Here is the 5 o'clock focus. Should we have guns in school, with teachers, or with police? Again, should we have guns in schools? Should it be teachers or police? If not, both. In order to keep our schools safe. If they're really that concerned, what should we do? Teachers with guns, or have police officers stationed in or outside the school during school hours or during the school year? You tell me. All right, for now, let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with our good friend Mark Christopher. How are we doing out there, Mark?
We're doing okay, Reese. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you.
Be clear.
Everyone. If you are traveling into Hartford on the southbound side of 91, delays 34 down to 32 A and B, again 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weather Shield line. Northbound 91, I'm seeing some slow traffic now as you move up between exit 20 and 21, Middletown up toward the Cromwell line. After that, easy ride Hartford up into Windsor. If you are traveling on the westbound side of 84, you've got delays approaching the Bulky Bridge up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays from 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. 291, 384 looking good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Heading in Middletown, 9 northbound delays 22 up to the Aragoni Bridge. If you're heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound slowing up by exit 18. Westbound 84 a little slow, 23 into the Mixmaster. Heading 84 eastbound in Newtown, you've got delays approaching exits 10 up to exit 11 on the eastbound side of 84. 95 southbound delays 46 down to 44 in New Haven. And we do have an accident now northbound on the Wilbur Cross Parkway. It looks like it's between exits 63 and 64 on the North Haven Wallingford line. Left lane reportedly shut down there. Stay right. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, it'll be mostly sunny and pleasant with the high temperature of 81 degrees. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, comfortably mild, the low down to 56. A pleasant day for our Friday with a mix of clouds and sun to round out the week, the high of 79. Then we'll have a bit of rain Saturday afternoon with a mostly cloudy day, the high of 76. Sunday, mostly sunny and breezy, pleasant, the high of 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Don't just live with foot pain. Find the Good Feet store nearest you at goodfeet.com.
Most goals have a clear course, like planning a trip. But when it comes to losing 40 or 50 pounds, that's a different story. Except with Awaken 180, a clear course to fast, proven weight loss with free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 77 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Bloomfield High School went into lockdown for a time this afternoon as police checked out a report of a gun threat. Officers combed the campus and found a student suspect who apparently boasted about having a firearm. None was found, and the lockdown was ultimately lifted. Police say it wound up being a hoax, and juvenile charges could be in the offing. The community in Widener, Georgia, still shaken following the shooting deaths there of 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School Wednesday. A 14-year-old is being charged. Anna Schechter, senior coordinating producer for CBS News, explains more on how the teen was overlooked when he was reported for making threats in the past.
Colt denied that he made the threat. He did acknowledge he had a Discord account. He said that he had deleted it because he was concerned about people hacking in. He basically denied everything and was convincing enough that the local official didn't feel like he had enough information to substantiate that Colt actually was the owner of that Discord account and actually made the threat.
9 others were wounded in that attack on Wednesday. Justice Department has expanded its probe into Russian global cybercrime, indicting 5 Russian military officials and 1 civilian. U.S. Attorney Eric Barron says the hackers targeted U.S. allies and U.S. businesses.
So we are acting because if you violate our laws, we will seek accountability. The public needs to know about the threat posed by cyber criminals, and these criminals need to know that their actions will not be ignored.
Barron says these large-scale cyber crimes dating back to 2020 targeted civilian infrastructure in Ukraine in the lead-up to that war. State Republican leaders are still calling for a special session to approve the use of federal COVID relief funds to cut down residents' electric bills, but the session doesn't appear to be happening. Senate Minority Leader Steve Harding.
We have, as of this point, over $700 million in unallocated ARPA funds from the federal government that we could use towards paying down this public benefit charge and providing immediate relief to the ratepayers of the state.
Democratic Governor Lamont says instead of holding a special session, he's looking into unilaterally moving some of the COVID funds.
Justin, you're in tomorrow, right?
Scanlon.
Yep, tomorrow's my last day.
Oh, okay.
The use of those funds would go only so far.
Spending $200 million of ARPA money to save people $3 on their bill. When my wife showed me our bill yesterday, it went from $150 to $450.
Jeez.
Is barely noticeable.
And he was a guest on WTIC's Brian and Company today. Preparations taking shape for the presidential candidates ahead of next week's debate in Philadelphia.
The vice president will remain in the battleground state for debate prep ahead of Tuesday's face-off with Trump.
I expect them both to tell lies, on each other. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, nobody's telling me what they're going to do.
Harris's campaign has agreed to keep microphones muted when a candidate is not speaking after having pushed to leave them open.
Correspondent Natalie Brand. Connecticut State Supreme Court Chief Justice Richard Robinson reflected on his legal career and time on the bench during a retirement ceremony today. The 66-year-old jurist announced his retirement earlier this year. Robinson says it is not lost on him how hard those in the judicial system work to fight for justice.
Thank you to all the branch attorneys and various other professionals, especially those that work in front-facing positions. The people that work so hard to see that everyone who comes through our doors or appears on video gets treated fairly, courteously, with dignity and respect. The people who realize for them that it's just another day at the branch But for the people who come through our doors, it can be the most traumatic day of their life.
Last week, Governor Lamont chose Associate State Supreme Court Justice Raheem Mullins as Robinson's successor. Wall Street, the Dow down 219 points, NASDAQ up 43, S&P down 16. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Here's Brooke Burke for Skechers' new workout walker.
1 minute.
Do you know the world's #1 most popular form of exercise? It's walking. And one company has you covered. Skechers. The comfort.
You want me to play the 5 o'clock
Performance
focus drop after we come back from traffic? And
Yeah, after we come back from
Skechers
traffic,
Workout
yes.
Walker is
Perfect.
to get the most out of your walk, including a carbon-infused plate in the sole to add more spring to your step. Find
By the
Skechers
way, you can
Workout
play
Walker for
any
men and
bumper.
women
Like
at
if you
Skechers
got a
store,
regular like rock
Skechers.com,
bumper or
or
anything
wherever
like that,
stylish
you
footwear
just
is
throw
sold.
that in there.
Okay.
John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, today in the 5 o'clock focus, I want to ask the question. If there's ever going to be a safe school, there's going to have to be a change in how they react to these school shootings that happen randomly and anywhere. And in my view, I believe that we should be stationing, or we should station police officers at schools, at least 2. If the campus is huge, many of them are, but they should be stationed at the schools. 2 to 3, maybe even 4 officers should be at the schools. Now, I don't know whether or not people think that that's going to make schools look like or appear like prisons. I don't think so. I don't believe in that. I don't agree with that. I believe that presence there builds more of a community in that area. Here's why. I'll never forget moving to Fort Lee, New Jersey, and there was a police officer. His name was Police Officer Buddha. And he was the resource officer at my son Ethan's school. And because he was at that school every day, he got to know every kid there, and every kid got to know him. And if you grew up in the neighborhood, Officer Buddha then knew those kids as they grew up, and he knew how to deal with them. So it creates a relationship with those schools and the police officer. And that police officer has a duty and feels as though he has a duty, like each and every one of those kids are an extension of him or his family. And I think that when someone comes in there and comes to do them harm, that teacher is more dedicated to protecting those kids. That's just my view. Teachers with guns, I don't know, but I'm not opposed. I'd like to know what you think. The number is 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. With that, let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone.
You're clear.
In Hartford right now, look for delays on the southbound side of 91 from exit 34 down to 32A and B. And again, you're slowing, approaching 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weathersfield line. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Winter. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 Governor Street up to 47 Sigourney Street in Hartford. 84 eastbound delays 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound, slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. If you are traveling on the northbound side of the Parkway, we've got a crash now in the North Haven-Wallingford line between 63 and 64. Left lane block, stay to the right there. If you're traveling toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound, slowing by 18. 84 westbound, a little tight, 23. Into the Mixmaster, 84 eastbound in Newtown, delays 10 up to exit 11. South 95 in New Haven, slowing 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
It's been a beautiful day as we head through tonight, mainly clear and comfortable, the low down to 55. Another gorgeous day for Friday to round out the week, a mix of clouds and sunshine High temperature up to 80 degrees. There'll be a light breeze out of the northeast. Now, Saturday, mostly cloudy, bit of rain in the afternoon. High temperature of 76. Now, Sunday, the better of the 2 weekend days, albeit a cooler one. It'll be mostly sunny, breezy. Pleasant temperatures, the high 72. That'll feel quite cool, though, with a busy west-northwest wind of 10 to 20 miles an hour throughout the day. Then it begins to warm up as we head into the beginning of next week. Increasing clouds Monday, but the high up to 77. Mostly sunny and beautiful as we head into the day on Tuesday, though, with the high of 81. Now, currently, it is 76 in Bristol, New London at 70, Mansfield at 75, and it's 77 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth from Money Wisdom. Tune in this week and every week to learn more about how to strengthen your portfolio or how to create a 5-star retirement plan. Tune in to Money Wisdom, Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free. With zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Retirement can be scary, only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council. Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time.
10 seconds.
Thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the 5 o'clock focus. It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man. We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. The number 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Yeah, so, I remember where I was. I was in Atlantic City at Caesars in 1999 when I saw the television screen. I was sitting at a bar, and they had one of those little I guess it's roulette wheels or what? Not roulettes. No, they had the one-arm jack. It's sort of like, but it's on a tabletop thing. I was sitting there, and the girl I was dating at the time was out gambling, and I was just sitting at the bar, and I hated gambling, so I just sat there, and I was drinking a beer and watching it. I looked up at the camera, and I saw this happening. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was bizarre because you couldn't hear anything on the television, but of course, later on that day, there it was, Columbine. In a lot of ways, people sort of referred to Columbine as like the first in all of these mass shootings. And it changed the way that the news media started covering shootings in general. It became a focus. School shootings, school shootings, school shootings. It was almost like regular shootings inside the inner city were only left to local news. School shootings, for some odd reason, always became national. And It wasn't until I got a lot older that I understand the purpose of that, which is, in essence, what the conversation with Tim and Hamden was about, is that story, much like Sandy Hook, and that is, again, each tragedy in and of its own is the tragedy. It's the people who utilize it that many of us have a problem with. So I want to make sure that everybody understands my language here. And I know how things can be misconstrued and misinterpreted. I'm very plain spoken, so let me say it to you. The people who utilize that for another reason are who I'm speaking to. It affects everybody the same way. It is a tragedy. No one looks at that and says, and is flippant and dismissive of it. Don't ever get that twisted in that way. It's the people who utilize it for something else that has nothing to do with it. And the crazy part about that are the people who jump the gun on this, pardon the pun, who jump on this without all of the facts. They only see what happened. No explanation as to how or why. It's that it's either we need to get rid of the guns or what else can we do? If we can't get rid of the guns, what do? We get rid of the people? Because that's never going to happen. No one's going to take each person that a person that some people may feel is a troubled youth or a troubled individual and throw them in a mental institution. That's not something we do anymore. We can't discriminate. We can't focus on someone who may have a mental disability. Those things we have to stop the stigma, as they say. What stigma? If someone has a mental illness, we have to address the mental illness. We don't have to find ways for other people to cope. We have to deal with the mental illness. But they're never going to do that. Why? Because we've become a very permissive society. Everybody can do whatever they want. Mental illness be damned. You notice they talk about mental illness when they talk about people who are on drugs or people who are out on the street or people who are homeless veterans. But it's never a mental illness when you want to chop off your genitalia and become the opposite gender. No mental illness there. So that'll never be addressed. So how do we address this? We have to address guns. Fine, let's address them. If we're going to stop school shootings, the only way to deter them are with people with guns. And that should be the people they trust most. Think about it. And I say this to the people who are the gun grabbers. Who do you believe should have guns in our society? The military and police, right? You don't believe that average citizens should have guns. Why? Because in the hands of those whack jobs, they'll be just offing everybody down the street, just walking down the street, just shooting everybody. So the people who should have guns are the people who are responsible enough to have a gun, and that's police and military. Fine. Well, we can't put military at school, so let's put police officers there. I know you don't want to give them to the teachers. That's just crazy. I heard someone say this a couple of years ago. What if you give a gun to a teacher and the teacher's got a problem child in the classroom? Or what if the teacher's a closeted racist and he's got a problem black kid in the classroom? He'll just off. I'm serious. Someone actually said this on air. Idiot. But they said it. So why not the police? As I said earlier with Matt in Bristol, there's a psychological belief that the only people who should have guns are the people in authority. Government, in essence, police and military. They're the ones who are responsible. They're trained, right? So why not have police? And forget about this nonsense about schools looking like prisons. You've obviously never seen a prison. Having a police officer at the local school is not turning the school into a prison. It isn't. At all. It's just a fact of life. We have to, remember, we're supposed to adapt to a new age where children have access to weapons unlike we've ever had before. And we can't vet every kid. We can't vet what do? Would you go to everyone's house to find out whether or not they have a gun? No. That 6-year-old got access to that gun. Somehow the mother never knew, and the teacher was shot. This 14-year-old got access to a gun. He left the room and came back with a gun. No one knows how, but he did. So what do? We have to have someone in there to deter that. And the police, according to everybody else, they're the only ones that anyone believes should have a gun, so let's have them there. If you don't want to defund the police and you want to reallocate their funding, here's a start. If you're really concerned about school shootings, I promise school shootings would go to an all-time low. They'd almost vanish if you consider it. Let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Adam's in East Hartford. Adam, what say you, sir? Does that sound like an idea, or do you have another one?
It sounds like a great idea. But I wanted to tell you, to show you that I'm fair to all parties, and you're such a good down-to-earth person. Jermaine from Southington, he got upset when I said it's bad on both sides, because it is true, that in the streets of Chicago, Detroit, there's a lot of black-on-black crime, and, there's a lot of youths murdered at the hands of themselves. But then angry white male with the AR-15 are loaded to the teeth and shoots Gabby Giffords. There's shootings on all ends. The left says it's the guns, the right says it's the mental health, right?
Right. And you know what? The Gabby Giffords shooting was an interesting point because there was a police officer there. It was a public event with a sitting congresswoman. So it wasn't like there wasn't law enforcement present. They were there. And she was still struck in the head.
I wonder why the police didn't go in there and Uvalde and take care of the bad guy.
Well, see, and again, the Uvalde situation is an interesting one because, one, someone left the door open, therefore allowing this kid access into the building. What happened after that were the police officers who refused to confront him. That's different. If we had a police officer at Uvalde, and again, we have responsible people not, leaving doors unlocked, we don't have that kid even. The kid approaches the school with the gun. It's over before it even begins, right? Because remember how this... Say again?
Well, look at Adam Lance's mother. Instead of sending that kid to, the Boy Scouts or the youth Christian thing, she brings him to the firing range.
It's also true. Like I said, but then again, that's not something that we can deter, right? That's someone's that is someone's God-given right and their freedoms to do that. But if we have a deterrence at the school, right, the police officers who are there. Now, I don't know how a lot of people, feel about the police department. Some people love them. Some people have their issues with them. But I do believe this, and I especially believe this in the inner city. I believe that police officers dealing with children at a young age in the schools, that the police officers become familiar with the kids as they grow up inside the classroom, right? They become an extension to those teachers. So when the kids going by, hey, Officer Bob, hey, what's up, Jimmy? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. I'm doing such and such. All right, guys, you guys doing good in school? Blah, blah, blah. He's got a relationship with those kids. And as those kids get older and those police officers get older, those people are in the community. So when a cop sees one of those kids and Jimmy's doing something like cutting up or maybe he's writing graffiti somewhere, that officer goes, hey, Jimmy, what are you doing? He goes, oh, Officer Bob, we were just fooling around. Hey, knock it off. I'm going to tell your mom. And the kid sees that respect and he's on the right path. So now we have community policing and we're starting right where the kids go to school every day.
Exactly. Hey, thank you for taking my call. Have a great day.
My appreciation, sir. Thank you. Let's go to Dave in Windsor. How you doing, Dave? Hello, Dave.
This is Fred. Dave just dropped.
Oh, okay. Fred in Middletown. Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, Fred.
Hey, so this is exaggeration, but not quite hyperbole.
Okay.
If the FBI had wanted, they could have gone raided that kid's house and killed his whole family, and just like, whoops, sorry,
But that wasn't. They didn't send the FBI. They sent a sheriff. They sent.
Right. He was on the FBI watch.
He was on the FBI watch list, and they sent the local sheriff. But again, they can't interrogate him, but so far he's a kid, and again. the parent who says, look, he's got no access to the gun. The kid saying it's not my account. I didn't. I think it's some whatever. So I mean, they believe him, and you can't third degree a 13-year-old. I understand that. However, whatever took place between the time when he leaves the classroom, and according to reports, he left the classroom, and these classroom doors, they lock on the inside, so you can't get back in. The only reason why he was able to get off any shots inside of a classroom is that one of the kids, it was almost a perfect storm. He approaches another classroom nearby while a kid is opening the door. So, according to reports, that's what it was, a perfect storm of sort of like he was in the right place at the wrong time, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this one in particular, other than that these are, unless there's a special case, it's a false flag. The original organic school shooting was before Columbine, and since then
Which one is that one? I was thinking that as I was talking about Columbine, because I feel like there was one beforehand. Do you remember what the name of it was?
No, my journalist buddy told me. I never knew about it, but there was one before Columbine.
Okay.
And they studied it. They made a template, and then they just reproduced it. Yeah.
I thought those kids. I thought that whatever that kid's name, they were very obsessed with the Matrix movies. I mean, I'm almost certain.
They manufacture this stuff after the fact. But in any
Well,
way, just a quick thing, because I won't bore you with the whole poem. But there was this fellow, Craig Robertson. He was 75 years old. He weighed 300 pounds. He was 5'4".
Wow.
And he had a church buddy would come over, help him get out of his chair and to his van, his handicap van, and he'd drive to church, and that was it. Other than that, he didn't get out of his chair. Anyway, Biden and Pelosi and them were going to be in, I think, Utah, and he put up on Facebook that he was dusting off his sniper rifle. And the FBI raided him and blasted out. Let me just pull one quick line. What happened next? The FBI did what they do best. You just know someone screamed, "Get on the floor." Well, someone else screamed, "Don't move." Okay, guess how many bullets struck Craig Robertson? The over-under is 24.
Wow.
I mean, they can just go and do the hell what they want.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well.
And you're saying that this guy was like, what did you say? He was over 300 pounds and only 5'4"?
He was 300 pounds. He stood 5'4". He was 75 years old.
Goodness gracious.
But he had 20 guns. I heard Norm Pattis talking about it on Vinny Penn.
I'll actually check that. I will check that out. I will definitely check that out.
You never heard of him because he was a white guy shot by the FBI?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, true need.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate you. Okay, Bill in Waterbury. Actually, hold on for me until the top of the, or the bottom of the hour, I should say. Bill, I want to get to you as well because I know you want to chime in on this. So don't let go of that phone. Just stand by or just, put it on hold or put it down. But we'll be back in a couple of seconds. All right? I want to talk about more of this. The conversation, 5 o'clock focus. Should we have police officers at the school? I think it sort of helps in two ways. One, protects the school, gets police in a relationship with the kids at the classroom. Maybe it helps the kids go in a straight and narrow. Maybe some kids decide, hey, I want to be a police officer like Officer Bob. Who knows? I think it's a good opportunity for the community and the police department to kind of coalesce and become friends, and it changes the dynamic of relationships with cops and even the relationship with citizens and the police. So we'll talk about that much, much more in your phone calls. It's 860-522-WTIC. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christie. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon.
You clear?
Report being brought to you by W.I. Clark Company. And if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 33 to 32. Again, 27 to 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound side of 84, you're slowing just after 56 out to 46 Sisson Avenue. 84 eastbound delays 44 Prospect Oakwood down to the Bulkley. 2 westbound slowing exit 4 to the 84 West merge. 2 eastbound's a little heavy coming off of I-84 out to 5A in East Hartford. 291 slowing from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge as you move into South Windsor. Heading into Middletown, 9 northbound delays 22 to the Aragoni. 84 eastbound a little slow in Waterbury by 18. Sluggish volume on the westbound side of 84, 26 in Cheshire to 22 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound in Newtown delays 10 to 11. South 95 New Haven slowing 46 to 44. Look out for an accident northbound on the Parkway on the North Haven-Wallingford line between 63 and 64. 2-vehicle crash reported in the left lane, stay to the right there.
Darren is
Traffic
funny.
and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For this afternoon, well, it'll be mostly sunny and pleasant with the high temperature of 81 degrees. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, comfortably mild, the low down to 56. A pleasant day for our Friday with a mix of clouds and sun to round out the week, the high of 79. Then we'll have a bit of rain Saturday afternoon with a mostly cloudy day, the high of 76. Sunday, mostly sunny and breezy, pleasant, a high of 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
W.I. Clark. Call us or find us online at wiclark.com.
W.I. Clark provides superior equipment, parts, and service to the construction and landscape industry across Connecticut. We represent great brands like John Deere, Wirtgen, and Leeboy, and our employees have been the key ingredient behind our success since 1925. Online at wiclark.com.
And now, a WTIC news update.
77 degrees at 5:30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Lockdowns today at 2 high schools in Connecticut. In Bloomfield, police say a student boasted of having a firearm. That led to a lockdown at Bloomfield High and a sweep of the campus. Turns out that was a hoax, according to investigators. Meantime, in Windsor, the high school there went into lockdown just after noon on a report of a disturbing comment among 2 students overheard by a third. No weapon was found in either incident. Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty to federal tax charges to avoid facing another criminal trial months after his conviction in a separate gun case. President Biden's son entered the plea today, hours after jury selection was supposed to begin in the case, accusing him of a scheme to avoid paying at least $1.4 million in taxes. No go, at least for now, regarding UConn and the Big 12. The conference's commissioner says the talks have been put on hold. The thought was that UConn could join the Big 12 almost immediately for basketball and wait a little longer for its beleaguered football program. Former President Trump, suggesting his plans to increase tariffs on foreign imports will solve unrelated challenges, such as the rising cost of childcare. He appeared before an economic forum in New York today. The school superintendent in Oxford says first day of class went relatively smoothly. The opening was pushed back, of course, due to the devastating flood nearly 3 weeks ago. Superintendent Robert Miller says it wasn't without mixed feelings, given the destruction and the lives impacted. Fair season in Connecticut continues to heat up. There are 4 more this weekend. The Bethlehem, Hebron Harvest, North Haven, and Wapping fairs all get underway on Friday. You can access more information on the state's fair scene at ctagfairs.org. Wall Street, the Dow was up. The Dow was down 219 points today. The Nasdaq was up 43. The S&P lost 16. Nothing doing locally in baseball tonight. The Red Sox open a home series against the White Sox tomorrow. We'll have the pregame here at 6:10. NFL gets going tonight. Baltimore takes on the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. Most goals we set for ourselves have a pretty clear course. I want a trip to Nashville, so you read a couple of reviews, talk to a few friends, save up some money, and book it. Maybe a couple of choices along the way, but overall, it's a clear course to reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to lose 40 or 50 pounds, where's the clear path? You read reviews, talk with a few friends, and try something out. When it doesn't work, you're disappointed. We've all been there, and it sucks. You know what I say? Stop trying. Do what I did and start doing. Reach your goal with Awaken 180. It's a clear course to success without the disappointment. No guesswork, no trial and error, and no medication side effects. I'm proof. I dropped 80 pounds my first go at it, and it was simple. A word never associated with weight loss, except when referring to Awaken 180. Choose the simple, clear course to success with the solution for weight loss. Set your course today by calling 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Experience relief from oral inflammation and infection at Columbia Dental. Led by Dr. Mohammadi, our practice operates 7 days a week with extended hours, dedicated to restoring peace and comfort to your smile. Visit columbiadental.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own 1 minute, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Your phone calls coming up after we get one of the last BPS Traffic Center reports before the show is over. So we'll get to Bill, Kim, and Steve. So please stay on the line because I do want to hear from you. If you are just joining us. So, with the Georgia school shooting, people, of course, are going to the usual spaces in talking about gun control, which is, and it lasts for what? A couple of weeks, and then it's gone. Then they're back on to the other things that they find important, like abortion, which is, it's so interesting. I don't want to go down that road, but I always find it hypocritical. The conversation always talking about the safety of our children, but it does not extend to the womb. It bothers me. It irritates me so much. And I get on my own little soapbox, and sometimes I get over the top. I start screaming out. Sometimes I can feel it now. I can already feel me starting to sweat a little bit because, again, it just drives me nuts. That it just does. It just drives me. I never understand it anyway. But I'm, of course, proposing the idea. Police officers in school, I think it serves so many purposes. I think one of the biggest problems that we have in our community is that we just don't have police officers engaging in, especially in the inner city. We just don't have police officers engaging with the kids who are in the schools. I think that that's important. I think that it is. And I think that parents could benefit from it in all cities, that they have a relationship with them, because then they're not worried. How many parents do you hear talk about they're worried about what's going to happen with a police officer or the police department when their kids interact with them in the street? It's a completely different dynamic when the kids know the police and the police know the kids. It just does. There isn't any. Ask any police officer whether or not they would like a better relationship with the community if the community knew who they were and they knew who the community was. There'd be a sense of that. I don't want to make it all Mayberry and whatnot, but I've seen that plenty of times. One of the things when I used to live in Washington Square Park, what I thought was amazing was that at Washington Square Park, we hung out there every day. We knew all the officers at Washington Square Park. We saw them regularly. We had a relationship with them. Kids didn't get into trouble because the cops knew the guys knew the cops. It's common sense. Let's just get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. I could do this all day. Hey, Mark.
Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon.
You're clear.
Well, if you're making your way into downtown Hartford right now, look for delays on the eastbound side of 84 from 44 up to 48 Capitol Avenue. On the westbound side of 84, you've got delays approaching the Bulkley Bridge in East Hartford, and that stays tight right out to exit 46, or actually now exit 45 Flatbush Avenue. If you're traveling on the southbound side of 91, delays in Windsor 36 down to 35. Again, slowing from 34 down to 32 A and B, and 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weather Seal line. Looks real good 91 northbound, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, a little slow as you move over the Bissell Bridge on 291 eastbound into South Windsor. If you're traveling 2 westbound, you're slowing exit 4 to the 84 West Merge in East Hartford. 9 northbound's tight in Middletown Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing by 18. 84 westbound, look for sluggish traffic 26 in Cheshire to 22 in Waterbury. Now, if you're on the eastbound side of 84, look for a little tight traffic by exit 5 in Danbury. Again, some slow traffic 10 to 11 in Newtown. Northbound on the Parkway, we have an accident now on the Let's see, that's going to be on the North Haven Wallingford line between 63 and 64, left lane block there. And if you are traveling on the southbound side of the parkway, you've got slow traffic now as you approach and get by exit 60 in Hamden. 95 southbound New Haven slows 46 to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC. It's been a beautiful day. We've got one more on tap before things go a little bit south as we head into the weekend. But for tonight, mostly clear, quite comfortable, mild, the low down to 55. A mix of clouds and sun for our Friday, the high up to 80 with a nice light breeze out of the northeast. And Saturday, mostly cloudy, bit of rain in the afternoon, not quite as warm, the high of 76. Sunday, the better of the two weekend days, mostly sunny, breezy, pleasant. The high 72, though a busy west-northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour sustained throughout the day will make that feel a little bit cooler. It does start to warm up as we head into next week, increasing clouds Monday, the high 77. Then a beautiful day Tuesday, mostly sunny, the high of 81 for us. Bristol 76, Mansfield 75, now 75 in Hartford as well. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Don't just live with foot pain. Find the Good Feet store nearest you at goodfeet.com.
Columbia Implant Center in Manchester offers the leading edge in technology, which allows for dental procedures, start to finish in one day. From a single tooth replacement to complete reconstruction, we do it all. Call 860-730-6020 or ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
Here's Brooke Burke for Skechers' new Workout Walker footwear.
Do you know the world's #1 most popular form of exercise? It's walking. And one company has you covered, Skechers, the comfort technology company, with their newest performance walking sneaker, Skechers Workout Walker. Because the Skechers Workout Walker is fully loaded to get the most out of your walk, including a carbon-infused plate in the sole to add more spring to your step. Find Skechers Workout Walker for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only.
Second.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Bianna's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes.
10 seconds.
Father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. To the phones real quick, but don't forget tomorrow, folks, your favorite day of the week.
The airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances Friday is tomorrow, so make sure you call up early so you can get your air. Just find them, get them ready, and just fire them up. Just make sure you call tomorrow, okay? Friday, every Friday.
The airing of grievances.
That's right, the airing of grievances. To the phones we go. Thank you guys for holding. Let's go to Bill in Waterbury. How are you, Bill?
Hey, Reese. Hope all is well. Very simple solution to this.
Okay.
Every veteran, regardless of your branch, you take an oath to protect all Americans from any threat, foreign or domestic. Never, ever relieved of that oath. We have a lot of homeless veterans. Let's take one class in the school, turn it into a little hotel room, put 2 or 3 veterans in there. That's their fort. They eat breakfast with the kids. They eat lunch with the kids. They go out and buy dinner, but they return back to the school at night. That's their home. And it's just win-win all the way around. Not every homeless veteran has mental health issues or drug addict or what. Some just fell on hard times. So
This
it's
is a
win-win.
recruitment
Get the
tool.
veterans off the street.
It is a recruitment tool. We there used to be a time, Bill, where we had a lot of people who got home from Iraq and Afghanistan who went into the police force. That used to be a mainstay. Yep. I'm not sure exactly why we don't see as many. Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like that sort of fell off a little bit, that dropped off, that people haven't retired from the military and then gone into law enforcement. Because I remember that was a mainstay in and around 2010, 2015. That was a huge thing. But you're right. I think veterans are just known for that. As you're right, the oath that they take to protect is a natural oath for them. It's just, in fact, that sort of regimen is something they're used to. It's funny you bring that up. I talk to my wife all the time about her stint as in the military, and she talks about how much she misses it because she feels when she was in the military that was the life seemed in order, right? Her life.
Everything is structured.
Yes. She loved that structure. You do this, you do that, and outside of that, it's sort of like free-wielding, and it made her uncomfortable, and she longs for the days of going back to that structure. It's a good point.
Trained with firearms. They eat lunch, breakfast and lunch with the kids. It becomes part of their family. They're off the street. They have a warm place to sleep. That becomes their fort. They'll die there.
Yeah, I hear that. Thank you, man. I
Before
appreciate.
somebody takes over.
I hear that. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to Kim in Cromwell. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Now you're involved with the schools to some degree.
Yeah.
So what do you think of my proposal? I think me thinking it works better for the kids and for the police department to sort of have a community relationship.
Yes, I do think they're at this point in time overdue. We do need to have a police presence on the campus. I am surprised that there isn't somebody assigned that can roam around the building and with their car situated out there until at such point in the future that we can reverse things and they calm down. I do not advocate the arming of teachers.
Right.
I don't want for people who go into a profession to have to think that it becomes automatic that they have to train in that type of line of work,
right,
which they never could have envisioned. That is not the way to solve it. There are moral reasons for it. We have a deeper problem there, and I think part of this problem in the mental health area has to do with over X number of years, the powers that be have begun to affirm what is called either bad behavior, totally abnormal decorum, things that you would say, if
are unacceptable.
It needs to be treated.
Right.
But we have, as we've seen in recent years, the whole thing with the trans crowd. Feel sorry for this one and that one. You see, what these kids and a lot of other people are looking for is validation.
Yes.
That my beliefs are okay, I need to be accepted, and I'm going to force it on everybody. And it may be that they are outside the mainstream. That is a mental health problem. So when you have kids that come to a school and tell the principal, we are cats, you don't bow down to them and say, okay, do you want us to get some food and
a litter box?
And that is abnormal.
Yeah.
And the powers that be have to stop playing this feel sorry victimization stuff. There is a standard to come up to. And those kids, dysfunctional families, the state, the schools need to help out with that to see if they can get some control of the problem.
Such a good, Kim. Kim, that you're 100% on par. This permissible behavior by those, and again, the powers that be, the faculty, this sort of acquiescing to the whims of young children who, again, the cat thing. Wow, I hadn't even thought of that. The whole I'm a cat, I'm a dog. And then teachers acquiescing to the point where they're bringing litter boxes in for these kids instead of dealing with the problem as it is. This is not proper decorum. We need to put a stop to it. And you're right. That's become a fabric of our life today. God, that's such a good point. Thank you, Kim. Much appreciate your call. Let's go to Steve in Andover. Hello, Steve. What's going on?
Hey, Reese. So, as a police officer,
as
someone who runs a training company that trains armed school security, I can probably give some unique insights to this.
Love it.
But I'm going to take issue with one of the things you said earlier, and that is that we just can't take away the freedoms of people who are mentally ill anymore. And I absolutely disagree with that, and here's why.
Okay.
Red flag laws in this country, which I have a real problem with in a lot of ways, basically allow for an otherwise perfectly fine Second Amendment person to make one possibly screwy statement, say one word, and somebody in their family can raise all kinds of holy hell, and now they've lost one of their constitutional rights.
Did I give it? I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me stop you, Steve, real quick. Did I give the impression that I was saying that we should take the constitutional rights away from people we deem unfit? Did you get that impression?
No. So I'm comparing it to that. So here we go.
Oh, okay.
So because we have these red flag laws, which will take away the Second Amendment right of an otherwise, rational human being who may make one dumb statement, okay? Right. The fact that we can't take away the mobility of somebody and put them in an institution for somebody who stands in their front yard, strips off their clothes naked every afternoon and screams and yells, and it takes 3 officers to come and pepper spray them and taser them and get them on the ground and send them to the hospital, and then they get kicked right back out the next day, or the person who's in their home with elderly parents who are absolutely petrified by this person's mental health problems. They put holes in their walls, they smash the doors and everything else. We got to go in there as cops and drag this person out, put him in an ambulance, and ship him to a psych ward. Absolutely. There's a huge problem in this country. Like when I started doing this, and I've been doing this for a long time, there was nowhere near the mental health issues. We, cops, have become the mental health caseworkers on the street
You have.
Because society has closed Norwich, has closed Cedar Crest, has closed Elm Crest.
But Steve, where did I go wrong? And you said that you disagreed with. What was the statement that you disagreed with?
Well, because you said that we can't just lock people up who have mental health.
Oh
problems.
no, I'm saying no. I was saying that's what.
Up a bunch of them.
Oh no, I'm not. No. Then you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I said we can't. I'm saying that we're in essence they've deterred that. In essence, the powers that be have tied your hands in taking people like that and putting them in institutions. That was my point. I agree with you. I'm saying that the way in which the thing is structured is that we've allowed these people to be, in essence, kicked back out into society. We don't get to deal with them by putting them in institutions. That's been taken away. That was my point. I apologize that you misinterpreted that, but that was what I meant when I said it.
Yeah, because, again, there's absolutely people who do not belong on the street, period. Done.
Clearly.
End the conversation right there. But they are. And we deal with them on a daily, weekly, nightly, take your pick, depending on what town or city you live in, basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's one of the issues. The other thing is, yes, absolutely putting cops in schools is a great idea. Here's the issue, though.
Okay.
So you talk about doing it in inner city areas. Mm-hmm. If there was ever a place to do it, that's it.
Yeah.
But what's the problem there? And it's twofold. One is funding, and two is hiring. Especially in Connecticut, nobody wants to be a cop.
That's true.
Young people that I know, they'll come to me and go, "Hey, should I be a cop?" I tell them, absolutely not. Or go to another state where you can actually be a real police officer. When I started this job in 1991, this was the best job on the planet, bar none. I did lots of other work. This was absolutely the best job going. But now, because of how we are vilified, the things that we aren't doing, because of society's twisted mores, and all the stuff that's going on now, who wants to do the job? You have to be out of your mind. So consequently, and I see this a lot, the quality of candidates that we are getting on this job are nowhere near what they used to be when I came on.
Wow.
The agency that I work for, when I first got hired, we had a 2-day testing process that had between 2,000 and 3,000 people show up. They're lucky today if you can get 10 to show up for a test. And of them, none of them can pass the physical test. So,
So it's in essence, it's strained.
Are going to kill this.
Yeah. Listen, I understand the police force has become it's become more arduous than it's ever become before, or it's ever been before, and I get where you're coming from, and I'm glad that you agree with the idea that I believe. Well, you believe, if I'm getting you correctly, you believe that this becomes a relationship between the community and the police department if indeed they are at the schools. You believe that that's a benefit. I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. No, if agencies had the staffing and boards of ed wanted to do the funding, or however a town wants to fight it out in their financial department, which I don't even care about.
Right.
I mean, if that could fly, it would be the best thing on the planet. I saw so much success in the agency that I work for. We were a groundbreaking agency. We had officers in the school probably before anybody else in the state did, and we had such a long-standing respect with students. Our program went so far back, and I saw benefit after benefit after benefit from it. You name it. Kids who may have needed some kind of help didn't know where to go to. Kids who may have otherwise gotten themselves into trouble but realized there was a role model. It was endless, the benefits of it. There are no negatives. I don't care what anybody says. There are no negatives to it other than financial and maybe recruiting.
Yeah.
It is a win-win all the way around.
That's, you know what, again, I got that impression, and I'm, like I said, I'm trying to approach this in a common sense way, but you are right, and it sucks that you have to deal with that, because again, there is a way to solve this, but there are things that are in the way, and I think you bore them out by saying the recruiting process sucks, and of course financial, and those things can obviously be handled if we stop demonizing police officers in the first place. Because again, if you continuously go down that road of making police officers the culprit of every bad thing that happens across the country, which I mentioned, Ned Lamont went after every police officer in Connecticut based on something that happened with George Floyd in a place that's halfway across the country. It never made sense to me. I don't understand why municipalities find a way to do that. But the last people you need to do is to demonize the people who run into danger and not away from it. It never made sense to me, but that's become the commonplace today. Steve, thank you for sticking around. Please, can you call back tomorrow? Because I got to go to the end of the show, but I'd love to have you back on tomorrow. Could you do that?
I'll try. Yeah,
you got it. Please try to call out. I'll extend this conversation to everyone tomorrow. Please forgive me, Lori and Mike. I'm sorry that we went long, but I do have to get out of here. But maybe I should have talked about this earlier, but I wanted to be a part of the 5 o'clock focus because I knew it would be something that everyone would want to talk about. So don't worry, we'll extend this conversation to tomorrow. Also with the airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances.
Make sure you call in tomorrow for that. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. And now let's get to BPS Traffic Center with our good friend Mark Christopher. Good night, Mark. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. You have a great night, Reese. And if you're heading into...
You're clear. Good show, Reese.
Thank you, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
Of I-90.
Talk to you tomorrow.
33 to 32, again, down by exit 28 on the Hartford Weathersfield line. Northbound 91, New Issues, Cromwell through Hartford up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing in East Hartford approaching.
Okie dokie, everybody. Thank you so much. Dan, that was a great call at the end. I really appreciate it. You guys be good to each other, right?